Liberia entrepreneurs are calling on Nigerian businessmen to come invest in their country as it provides enormous potential for investors. The call was made at a summit that seeks to explore investment opportunities in Liberia for 2025. TVC News senior reporter Theophilus Silama the details.
Nigeria and Liberia have been developmental partners for decades. Before the devastating war of 1989, Liberia was a thriving country. But the 30-year war laid waste to its resources and made the country unprofitable for investors. In the aftermath, Nigeria was and has been instrumental to the growth of the country, lending its support whenever it is needed. Here, businessmen from both Nigeria and Liberia are seeking ways of doing business together.
It's no accident that your country, Nigeria, has grown now to be the largest economy in Africa. In fact, I was reminded that Lagos, where we are, is the fourth largest economy in Africa. You must be doing something right. And that is something that we need to tap in.
We are prepared to make sure the incentives to make sure you bring your equipment on tax waivers and the rest into Liberia. We also want to be able to look at situations if you are into areas of real estate and a whole lot of stuff. We want to be able to complement you by making sure you have the kind of security you want for your investment, which is very key.
The United Nations International Trade Statistics Database shows that in the year 2022, Nigeria exported $1.06 million to Liberia, while Liberia exported $28.75 thousand to Nigeria. This shows a decrease in trade between the two countries. Experts believe that this needs to change as the government of Liberia is ready to put in place some incentives in the form of waivers.
We look at areas where we have comparative and competitive advantage over each other. They are talking about gold. Yes, I know we mine gold here, but Liberia is known for gold. That's the Gold Coast with Ghana. And the point now is that they are looking for opportunities for Nigerians who are willing to invest in Liberia.
I think critically, right, the first point of engagement is ensuring that countries across Africa understand the potential that they carry. I think that is going to drive whatever investment opportunities that cut across various African countries.
This investment drive is aimed at strengthening the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and Liberia for the profit of its people. These businessmen believe this is important, not just for Nigeria and Liberia, but for the African continent. Theophilus Ilama, TVC News, Lagos.
Liberia entrepreneurs are calling on Nigerian businessmen to come invest in their country as it provides enormous potential for investors. This call was made at a summit that seeks to explore investment opportunities in Liberia for 2025. Here's the news senior reporter, Kehleboe Gongloe, for details.
Nigeria and Liberia have been developmental partners for decades. Before the devastating war of 1989, Liberia was a thriving country. But the 30-year war laid waste to its resources and made the country unprofitable for investors. In the aftermath, Nigeria was and has been instrumental to the growth of the country, lending its support whenever it is needed. Here, businessmen from both Nigeria and Liberia are seeking ways of doing business together.
It's no accident that your country, Nigeria, has grown now to be the largest economy in Africa. In fact, I was reminded that Lagos, where we are, is the fourth largest economy in Africa. You must be doing something right, and that is something that we need to tap in.
We are prepared to make sure the incentives to make sure you bring your equipment on tax waivers and the rest into Liberia. We also want to be able to look at situations if you are into areas of real estate and a whole lot of stuff. We want to be able to complement you by making sure you have the kind of security you want for your investment, which is very key.
The United Nations International Trade Statistics Database shows that in the year 2022, Nigeria exported $1.06 million to Liberia, while Liberia exported $28.75 thousand to Nigeria. This shows a decrease in trade between the two countries. Experts believe that this needs to change as the government of Liberia is ready to put in place some incentives in the form of waivers.
We look at areas where we have comparative and competitive advantage over each other. They are talking about gold. Yes, I know we mine gold here, but Liberia is known for gold. I mean, that's the Gold Coast with Ghana. And the point now is that they are looking for opportunities for Nigerians who are willing to invest in Liberia.
I think critically, right, the first point of engagement is ensuring that countries across Africa understand the potential that they carry. I think that is going to drive whatever, whatever investment opportunities that cuts across various African countries.
This investment drive is aimed at strengthening the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and Liberia for the profit of its people. These businessmen believe this is important, not just for Nigeria and Liberia, but for the African continent. Theophilus Ilama, TVC News, Lagos.
Come invest in their country as it provides enormous potential for investors. This call was made at a summit that seeks to explore investment opportunities in Liberia for 2025. This is the news senior reporter, Theophilus Ilama, for details.
Nigeria and Liberia have been developmental partners for decades. Before the devastating war of 1989, Liberia was a thriving country. But the 30-year war laid waste to its resources and made the country unprofitable for investors. In the aftermath, Nigeria was and has been instrumental to the growth of the country, lending its support whenever it is needed. Here, businessmen from both Nigeria and Liberia are seeking ways of doing business together.
It's no accident that your country, Nigeria, has grown now to be the largest economy in Africa. In fact, I was reminded that Lagos, where we are, is the fourth largest economy in Africa. You must be doing something right, and that is something that we need to tap in.
We are prepared to make sure the incentives to make sure you bring your equipment on tax waivers and the rest into Liberia. We also want to be able to look at situations if you are into areas of real estate and a whole lot of stuff. We want to be able to complement you by making sure you have the kind of security you want for your investment, which is very key.
The United Nations International Trade Statistics Database shows that in the year 2022, Nigeria exported $1.06 million to Liberia, while Liberia exported $28.75 thousand to Nigeria. This shows a decrease in trade between the two countries. Experts believe that this needs to change as the government of Liberia is ready to put.
Mr. Gilman, good to see you. Good to see you, Mr. Gilman.
Good to see you, Chief.
How's everything at your end?
The weather is beautiful. Everything is fine over here. And we look forward to sitting down with the Chief. You know, it's an honor to sit with the Chief.
Wait, one minute. 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
In spring mornings, the sun rises on the horizon. A million colors dance on the petals of flowers. And amidst this spectacle, I see only you. In spring mornings, the sun rises on the horizon. A million colors dance on the petals of flowers. And amidst this spectacle, I see only you.
Calling on Nigerian businessmen to come invest in their country as it provides enormous potential for investors. The call was made at a summit that seeks to explore investment opportunities in Liberia in 2025. BBC News senior reporter Theophilus Silama the details.
Nigeria and Liberia have been developmental partners for decades. Before the devastating war of 1989, Liberia was a thriving country. But the 30-year war laid waste to its resources and made the country unprofitable for investors. In the aftermath, Nigeria was and has been instrumental to the growth of the country, lending its support whenever it is needed. Here, businessmen from both Nigeria and Liberia are seeking ways of doing business together.
It's no accident that your country, Nigeria, has grown now to be the largest economy in Africa. In fact, I was reminded that Lagos, where we are, is the fourth largest economy in Africa. You must be doing something right. And that is just something that we need to tap in.
We are prepared to make sure the incentives to make sure you bring your equipment on tax waivers and the rest into Liberia. We also want to be able to look at situations if you are into areas of real estate and a whole lot of stuff. We want to be able to complement you by making sure you have the kind of security you want for your investment, which is very key.
The United Nations International Trade Statistics Database shows that in the year 2022, Nigeria exported $1.06 million to Liberia, while Liberia exported $28.75 thousand to Nigeria. This shows a decrease in trade between the two countries. Experts believe that this needs to change as the government of Liberia is ready to put massive incentives in the form of waivers.
We look at areas where we have comparative and competitive advantage over each other. They are talking about gold. Yes, I know we mine gold here, but Liberia is known for gold. I mean, that's the Gold Coast with Ghana. And the point now is that they are looking for opportunities for Nigerians who are willing to invest in Liberia?
I think critically, right, the first point of engagement is ensuring that countries across Africa understand the potential that they carry. I think that is going to drive whatever investment opportunities that cut across various African countries.
This investment drive is aimed at strengthening the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and Liberia for the profit of its people. These businessmen believe this is important, not just for Nigeria and Liberia, but for the African continent. Theophilus Ilama, TVC News, Lagos.
At 2 o'clock, somebody get a check to play that continue at 4 o'clock team, then they have to spend it now and they pay storage fee for 1 more day.
So what it can be the one-stop shopping.
We work it.
It's got to be one-stop shopping.
That's exactly.
There is no way the guy will want to clear up continuing to spend. If he has allowance is 2 days, but then you have to clear in 1 week.
I don't want to speak for the company.
In Liberia, it made it known at an event in Lagos which focused on exploring various investment opportunities within the West African country, which allows both the domestic currency, that's the Liberian dollar, and the US dollar at legal tender. On his part, Liberia's presidential special envoy on tourism, Ambassador Christopher Onanga, lists some key expectations for the country that will benefit investors in the long run.
The purpose of this meeting is for us to be able to have Nigerians who are willing to invest there to be able to identify the areas, grey areas, at the same time their concerns to know. Because we've seen people establish industries in African countries and they lose all the things they have. So what we're trying to do is how the primary objective of any investor is the protection of their investment, and that's what we're working on.
The next 10, 15 years in terms of what's going to happen in Liberia, as we're seeing the hotels are popping up, we see the beaches, the resorts are being established, we see the people are traveling back and forth for trainings, for the educational sector is booming, our health sector is taking shape. The only most important thing that we can look at is that the number of international tourists in Liberia has increased in the last 3-4 years, and it's increased greatly in terms of last year. We intend to capitalize on that and make sure that 10 years from now, we can equal the number of citizens in Liberia to the number of tourists that we get to Liberia, which is 5-6 million.
Now, from bilateral in Liberia, it made it known at an event in Lagos which focused on exploring various investment opportunities within the West African country, which allows both the domestic currency, that's the Liberian dollar, and the US dollar at legal tender. On his part, Liberia's presidential special envoy on tourism, Ambassador Christopher Onanga, lists some key expectations for the country that will benefit investors in the long run.
The purpose of this meeting is for us to be able to have Nigerians who are willing to invest there to be able to identify the areas, grey areas, at the same time their concerns to know. Because we've seen people establish industries in African countries and they lose all the things they have. So what we're trying to do is how the primary objective of any investor is the protection of their investment, and that's what we're working on.
The next 10, 15 years in terms of what's going to happen in Liberia, as we're seeing the hotels are popping up, we see the beaches, the resorts are being established, we see the people are traveling back and forth for trainings, for the educational sector is booming, our health sector is taking shape. The only most important thing that we can look at is that the number of international tourists in Liberia has increased in the last 3-4 years, and it's increased greatly in terms of last year. We intend to capitalize on that and make sure that 10 years from now, going on the line, we can equal the number of citizens in Liberia to the number of tourists that will get to Liberia, which is 5-6 million.
Now, from bilateral in Liberia, it made it known at an event in Lagos which focused on exploring various investment opportunities within the West African country, which allows both the domestic currency, that's the Liberian dollar, and the US dollar at legal tender. On his part, Liberia's presidential of the Super Onanga lists some key expectations for the country that will benefit investors in the long run.
The purpose of this meeting is for us to be able to have Nigerians who are willing to invest there to be able to identify the areas, grey areas, at the same time their concerns to know. Because we've seen people establish industries in African countries and they lose all the things they have. So what we're trying to do is the primary objective of any investor is the protection of their investment, and that's what we're working on.
The next 10, 15 years in terms of what's going to happen in Liberia, as we're seeing the hotels are popping up, we see the beaches, the resorts are being established, we see the people are traveling back and forth for trainings, for the educational sector is booming, our health sector is taking shape. The only most important thing that we can look at is that the number of international tourists in Liberia has increased in the last 3-4 years, and it's increased greatly in terms of last year. We intend to capitalize on that and make sure that 10 years from now, going on the line, we can equal the number of citizens in Liberia to the number of tourists that will get to Liberia, which is 5-6 million.
Now, combine that
men to come invest in their country as it provides enormous potential for investors. The score was made at a summit that seeks to explore investment opportunities in Liberia for 2025. TVC News senior reporter Kehleboe Gongloe. The details.
Nigeria and Liberia have been developmental partners for decades. Before the devastating war of 1989, Liberia was a thriving country. But the 30-year war laid waste to its resources and made the country unprofitable for investors. In the aftermath, Nigeria was and has been instrumental to the growth of the country, lending its support whenever it is needed. Here, businessmen from both Nigeria and Liberia are seeking ways of doing business together.
It's no accident that your country, Nigeria, has grown now to be the largest economy in Africa. In fact, I was reminded that Lagos, where we are, is the 4th largest economy in Africa. You must be doing something right. And that is something.
Okay, where's the other guys? Well, okay, let's get it still going, man. Let's get it going. You guys can hear me? Okay, you guys can hear me?
I can hear you, but when I'm off screen.
Oh, you off, what happened?
I don't know. Maybe I need to go and come back in.
Yeah, go come back in. Anyway, let's go. Let's get this show started. It's good to be back on the closing argument tonight. Today is April 2nd, 2025. We have as our guest tonight the President Boycott Tourism Special Envoy and Tourism Ambassador, Ambassador Christopher Hayes Onaniga. He's our guest tonight. We'll be discussing issues about tourism and other aspects of his job in Liberia. So let's get ready. As soon as I see Mr. Gaiman, I'll see Peabody, we can get started. Okay. Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, man. Mr. Nyenwolo, Mr. Gaiman, how are you guys? How are you guys doing?
What's up, Tomalin? How you doing, man?
Great.
Jerome, what's up?
How you doing, young man?
Hanging in there. Yourself?
It's all right.
That's good.
I'm in Florida. We are getting ready to host the Final Four for the women in Tampa, Florida. So,
oh, you're coming to Florida?
Oh yes. So my twin girls are treating me to a Final Four for the.
Girls, don't steal it. Come on,
listen. And for the men, we got our Florida Gators. We are in there. Family George, you ain't got nobody in there, so you're all right.
Well, in Providence, I'll be beyond the Providence guy.
Oh, Dominic in Providence?
No, I used to live Providence.
Okay.
They made you to be the mayor of Providence a long time ago.
Yeah.
Small state, yeah.
Well, yeah, let's get started. So we got guests tonight. Let's get started. So we're running late. Let me bring the guests on the show. Peabody, welcome. Everything else set. Tonight we have as our guest Ambassador Christopher Hayes Onaniga, Presidential Envoy on Tourism, Office of the President of Liberia, Minister of State of Liberia. He's a business executive and entrepreneur. So we'd like to bring him on the show. Let's get it started and welcome to Ambassador. You are okay. Ambassador Onaniga, good to see you. Pewee, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Can't complain. In one part of the bush, trying to make sure I do what I have to do. Is that Peabody?
I'm back, my man. I'm back.
Welcome my other panelists. Maybe I don't even know them. Mr. J. Victor Nangbe, one of Liberia political veteran. Also the Honorable Jerome Gayman, another Liberian political veteran too. And of course, the new progressive leader, the great Sylvester Pewee. Gentlemen, this is Naniga. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ambassador, first, let me ask you, how's everything? How's your family? How are you doing at your end? How's everything going?
Everything is fine right now. I'm going to appeal to you guys. When you see me go off and on with a link, is because I'm in a rural part of a particular country somewhere trying to understudy something. So I had to jump somewhere using the solar light to get power. So if I go off and on, just know that it's because of the location. But I'm glad my family is good. We are all doing well. The patrimony that we have is called Liberia. We have no other option to make it better, because that's where we're going to finally come and make good of our promises for our children.
I think he's frozen.
Yeah.
We just been warned, so he threw us in a way. So.
He did.
I want Peabody hacking a man line.
I think Peabody praying badly for me.
You see how you guys can after me like that? It's a
Peabody, he told you were not listening.
No, but even when it's both offering, I will still be hearing you.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's get started. First of all, tell us, man, what's up? I know the tourism industry in Liberia. Everybody been talking about tourism. Just give a little overview about the tourism sector in Liberia, and since your appointment as the president's special envoy on tourism, just give an overview of your activities and where we are right now. As I know there was a bill passed, at the legislature finally passed the tourism bill. But just give an overview where we are right now in the tourism sector, and from there we can.
All right. So to be clear, the best way to start this conversation is to let you know what my roles are.
Okay.
There's the technical and operational people at the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism. They're still there. They still exist. It's still intact. It's a department under the Ministry of Information. Now, my role is to provide advisement to the president on what tourism should be like, and then also take his vision to Liberia and the world, and find the best possible means to execute it for the good of every Liberian, both local and international. So once we've established that, then we understand. Another role of mine is to make sure that we can pull investment into the sector, but then it doesn't have to be just in the sector. You have to pull investment into all sectors, because tourism only becomes a reviving, compliant component of governance if all other sectors are compliant and working in line. That's why you have health tourism, geotourism, you have environmental tourism, you have industrial tourism, physical tourism, you have a lot of tourism. It's because it covers every sector, no matter how small or little. So basically, yes, we are doing a lot to make Liberia a better place, and a lot is being done, but people don't see it because you first of all have to do the peripheral, the primary stages before you go to the secondary stages. The primary stages are the documentations, for instance, making sure that you have the laws passed. The bill was sent to the House took the bill and
Well,
June, I hope this is on you.
no, I think.
When the Senate passed the bill and say they concur with the House, it means that the bill has been passed. No, it hasn't been passed. It means that when the Senate concur, it goes back to the House. The Senate and the House have to now look at both bills and see the differences. And it's during that period of differences settlement that you then have everybody involved to make sure that once they leave that point, then it goes to the Speaker to sign. It goes to the clerk to sign. It goes to the Senate President to sign, who is the Vice President. Then it comes to the President for signature. Then it becomes a law. So we are at the stage where the Vice President will have to sign. Then it becomes a property to come to the President for signing. But yes, that is on course. But if that is on course, does that mean that everything stops until that passes? No. The Liberian tourism environment is operating right now as an octopus. And there's so much being achieved. And by the time I talk to you tonight, the public and the world will understand that the Garguah government has not slept, and there was no mistake putting tourism as the last pillar. I'll give you an example. Today, we're just about to start announcing, but it's already been deployed. All Liberians and any human being anywhere around the world right now can come to Liberia using e-visa. Shockingly. Being operated by the Bureau of Immigration. You can go online, you can get the portal is there, you can just walk into the portal and get your e-visa. That's just one aspect of it. But is that all to it? The answer is absolutely not. The fact that you can get to Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Cote d'Ivoire by road, clean, beautiful roads that hits the border. It tells you that inter-transactional activities in West Africa has become more fluid. But is that all to it? No. It simply tells you that people who are coming into Liberia consider tourism, or Liberians consider tourism to be hotels and beaches. But that is 0.002% of tourism. And tonight, I hope you, the panelists, have paper and pen near you, because I'm going to provide you some stuff. Thank you. There's a plant, KELP. Please take it down, KELP. The plant KELP is called and the global revenue of kelp alone is about $500 billion.
Ambassador, hold on a minute, please. So whenever you just got somewhere just and we said the plan, and then you got disrupted. So sometimes when you stop, you have to come back, because you can just continue. Because during that interval, we're not getting you actually.
Okay, so kelp is a plant, and that plant is in a lot of countries on the coast. The global revenue annually for kelp is $500 billion. Liberia has never tapped into her kelp farming yet, or harvesting. I didn't say 500 million. I said with a B, 500 billion. I just sent it to Tomalin. He can beam it out. Now,
Gentlemen, when this act passes, it means that Liberia is ready for business to ginger the sectors. For instance, commerce. Commerce begins to find a friend that can deliver for her unimaginably because tourism is a full act of trade. That's one. Commerce and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. While commerce is the actor, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is the brander.
Seems like the internet is going to be a problem here tonight.
Yes, and I think
maybe he should try calling in. Maybe is that red thing he's drinking?
What are you drinking now with Mr.
Ambassador, is there a way that I mean, are you sorry? I'm just. Are you in the basement?
Come again?
Are you in the basement?
No, I'm in the forest.
Oh, in the forest. Okay.
Yes. I came to understudy packaging for Liberian businesses that are into tourism because, first of all, tourism, like I said, is an act of trade. Most time, tourism practitioners employ 3 times the population of the civil service, but they are mostly all independently employed. So then they work for other institutions, then they are self-employed. Take, for instance, right now, you may not know this, but we have people from Burkina Faso and other countries like Niger and Nigeria in Liberia right now. They are training our local fabricators on how to produce the mass production machines for country clothes. Because those machines, if we can produce them locally by our welders and the rest, it means our industry supply of these particular machines do not have stress.
I think this is a very important topic, and we needed to have you get a very good internet so we have the time to flow on the argument, so we understand you from the perspective you're going to let folk can come to try to push some. I don't want to say grade you, but to ask a relevant question that will help our Liberian population, both those back home and those in diaspora, listen via the social media. I think it's a very important. Too many I suggest that this is very important. He's trying to bring up because yesterday discussion about the Burkina Bay dedication. Now he's trying to get some detailed explanation on that. You know, he just tracked something that's very important, and they're going to train Liberians how to use the machine to do a mass production, all those things. It's a very important debate and topic. That's all we need. We don't need this kind of a glitches, right?
So there will be no
blatant glitches.
He said he wants to do the phone. I know.
Yeah, if he can do it on the phone, or if we can allow him to leave on the phone. I don't know which of the forest, but he can leave on the phone another day. We can catch him to have this debate. It's a very important. Yeah.
Tomalin, you have to move on the shop.
Move what?
I suspect the phone will do the same. If he said he in the forest.
No, the phone will not.
The phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So whether I go off or not right now, the message will be there.
Okay, then go ahead. If the phone will be okay, then we can transmit through the phone.
So first and foremost, we have to build capacity. And to build capacity, it has to be collected.
You have a feedback. You have a feedback that is irritating.
It's Tomalin where you have a
what? Because
yeah, go ahead.
It should be a great interview, but the internet, whatever, is.
You know, the tourism sector is a very unique sector.
it's a very important topic. We want to.
Can you come back to Monrovia then?
I will advise that if he'll be out of the forest tomorrow, we can catch him up tomorrow. That would be very good. We'll get
I'll be out of here on Friday evening.
Then can we get you on Monday of next week?
Can we get you Monday or next week?
Because Ambassador, this is a very important topic, and you are the ambassador. You are the ambassador the president appointed to spearhead these things, and you have head of somewhere that is very important and it's good for the country also.
Go ahead,
right? So
now.
I would advise.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you.
Is it clear now?
No.
It's coming clear, but we'll soon start buffering.
It's a little clear, though.
Yeah,
but it's a little clear. I mean, let's see.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
First of all, we want to build rural capacity. And the president is key that any technology within Africa that will build rural capacity for tourism before it kicks off is important. So, like we are training the people now to produce the machine, not to learn how to do the weaving of the clothes, no. But the machines, for instance, if they take 1 month to produce one piece, and the machines can help you to do 1 month, 100 pieces, it means that if we have 200 corporate bodies, associations in the rural Liberia doing that, we will definitely be able to produce 20,000 pieces annually. The second thing is this. We are also looking at several components of capacity building, not to fish, not to be given the fish, but to fish. Let me look at it this way. Every day we say we want to travel. We want to see what other people are doing. But for Christ's sake, to be able to do that, you have to set up a system that makes sure that we learn what other people are doing. So we are trying to set up the civic educational department. What's the duty? It's responsible for sensitization, orientation, branding, and introduction or marketing. Every product must learn to be packaged. You'll be surprised. We have a lot of watermelons being produced in Liberia right now. We have a lot of cucumber being produced. We have coconuts everywhere. But the only thing that doesn't allow our people to get better on what they have is just packaging. How to put it in a bottle. How to put real vinegar in it. How to seal the bottle like we seal water. What temperature to keep it for 4, 5, 6, 7 days. These are the things we are missing out. And these are the people we are taking to Liberia right now and training our people in rural Liberia. Because in rural Liberia, the man only needs to farm, harvest his crop, be able to beneficiation on it, package it, and move it to the next town where people buy it instantly. The beautiful thing about Liberia is that we have US dollar. So you don't worry about what the changing of the money will be from local to international. And that's the biggest attraction for our tourism in Liberia, because everybody around the world coming to Liberia will put their forex in their pocket and they'll be able to use it at the wheel and take the balance off without worrying about changing it. But you and I must know there are certain pillars that must be in place. The regulations must be right. The tourism body must be autonomous. The structure for culture and tourism must be clear. What kind of tourism are we practicing? Are we practicing sex tourism like in Japan and Holland and Senegal, Gambia and a few countries? Or why do we choose environmental tourism over sex tourism? Because environmental tourism is what you call ecotourism in actual sense. But there are over 800 units of tourism. Each unit is a full revenue generating component. And Gambia is known for one, and people are celebrating Gambia. But we are doing ecotourism, which is a cluster of about 400 to 500 plus of those units. So we are better off in what we are supposed to generate. But if we don't build capacity, we are wrong. So what the President Barker administration has done with his vision is that when we are trying to get the laws done, when we are trying to put the transition team in place to set up tourism, let's begin the training of the processes, the transition for safe education, so that when people begin to come into our country, they don't dilute what we have as our culture and our tradition in the first place. Because don't forget, tradition is only celebrated through culture. For instance, I'll say something to you today that will shock you. Have any of you heard of the word gastronomy tourism? The answer is absolutely not. But what is gastronomy tourism? And why is Liberia a major component of gastronomy tourism? Liberia is small. But what we have in Liberia, most countries will envy to have it when it comes to food. We have pastries, snacks, and pickups that several countries don't have. Take, for instance, our Grumpy Kenny, Benesi Kenny, this Kenny, that we can produce locally in seconds. It tells us we are West Indies as well. They tell us we are Caribbeans as well. Everything we have in Liberia, the color greens, the taste greens, the dark greens, tells us that we are a multi-face of several races. Not every country can boast of that. Now, I don't care how the Nigerians boast about the jollof rice, or the Sierra Leoneans, or the Senegalese, or the Ghanaians. Wherever a Liberian cooks a jollof rice, it ends the case. But how do we brand that? Like, Nigeria has been able to brand herself through just one thing, Afrobeat. On the platform of Afrobeat, Nigeria sold culinary, fashion, culture, academic, tradition, and she sold hospitality of her people. Today, the roadmap is Nigeria. Who will believe that the Nigerian common movie and music will take over the world? Does Liberia have something to sell? The answer is absolutely yes. One of such is that does Ghana own the Year of the Return? The answer is no. It's owned by Liberia. But the Liberian government accepted to do it when we were supposed to do it, they refused. Ghana took it and did. Question: do we have historical sites? Do we have good platforms? The answer is simple: yes. Stay at the top of Duko and look around Monrovia. Then the question will have its own answers to you. Gentlemen, our problem with what we have and how to use it to better ourselves is us. And until we begin to understand by reading, researching, understand the dictates of the various sectors, we will only say, oh, nothing is happening. Absolutely nothing is happening. Oh, this is not happening. But in reality, so much. Liberia has become one of the most recognized peaceful nations in the world, where you can walk any time of the night. Whether we like it or not, whether we do it or not, we are condemning ourselves. Flights are full these days. Let me inform you today. Turkey Airlines is talking about Liberia. United is talking about Liberia. And they are working speedily to get back their roots. And I want to inform you, the panelists, as of 1989, Liberia was the hub for every flight into West Africa, from Pan Am to Dutch Airlines, British Caledonia, and all the rest, KLM. They landed their passengers in Liberia. Then the domestic flights from the countries pick people from here. The war allowed that to go, but can it come back? Yes. The reason why it can come back, because Liberia, it has a natural patrimony for cheap price. It takes you from New York to Nigeria 11 hours. It takes you from New York to Liberia 7.5 hours. You don't beat that. Now, what are we trying to do? The airport is about to expand by 3. I don't think you guys have heard of that. Our airport is about to expand by 3. Because every airport in the world is a microcosm of the entire...
Ambassador, can I hold you there? You said it's about to expand by 3. This is news to us. Listen, 1 minute, please, Ambassador. This is news. The first small one you have, just one, you cannot manage it. There's this issue about electricity, and you saying, sometimes because the public will be concerned if you saying to us about to expand, and then you have this very stupid peak you are very inefficient, blatantly inefficient to manage what you have. This will also discourage potential tourists that need to come back to the country. Air Brussels now threatening to leave if this were to repeat itself. You condemn the past government. I'm not trying to, I just interrupted you because what you just said about you trying to expand the airport by 3, and the one you have now, you cannot manage it. Just 2 days ago, there was this serious power outage that led to Air Brussels, one of the major carriers we have in our country. And this is a carrier that used to be with us during the civil crisis that have to detour, they have to learn to over back to Freetown due to your own negligence, this current administration inability to manage the airport. But you can go ahead. I just thought to remind you on that process.
In fact, guess what? I was about to address that issue before you spoke about it. So I'm going to address it without fumbling, figuratively, or without fidgeting at all. This government is not managing results. This government is building capacity for results. So what are we doing? We are discussing to expand the airport. We are also discussing the PPP agenda to allow private party public partnership to run the airport. But as we are doing it, it's also coming with its own off-grid power plant, solar and the rest. When we talk about expansion this time, we're not just talking about building the edifice, because then we'll fail again. We are talking about building the edifice, improving the edifice to make Liberians proud in and out, but also the capacity to run it in a way that it can be run by any global airport. It can be compared to any global airport. And the first port of call to do that is power generation. The off-grid, there are two kinds of power produced. You have the off-grid and the on-grid. The off-grid is that for a particular area segment that provides enough for that place to make sure it's efficient in terms of power. If there's excess, it can dump it in the grid and it can be sold and revenue made on that. I can assure you, by the time the negotiations and the rest are done, what you will get will be a marvel. The same problem we're trying to solve with the hydro. Listen, what we have done, we've only been able to deal with issues regarding let's do this, let's make ourselves look good. This is now what the president of Liberia is saying now. He's saying, let's do it right for others to see and do it right tomorrow. So let me give you an example. It took us 4.5 years to see the Rubber Field Highway from the airport to Morobe to ERWA moving in strides. I don't care how you do it, Peabody and the rest. Every time you leave from Liberia for a month and go back, you realize the last 14, 15 months, the speed to which that airport road is being done is amazing. Look at rural Liberia. Look at the connectivity from Broadway to rural Liberia and other places. You realize that the focus is not on the capital any longer, because there's a lot of urban planning being done on paper. The focus is leading the roads to the produce.
Okay. That's another guy. Can you let the panelists ask the questions? Let me give them the opportunity to ask questions since you have given an overview. Okay, so I will start with Mr. Gilman, then Pewee, then Mr. Nangbe, Pewee, Peabody. Mr. Gilman, start first.
Yeah, Ambassador, welcome, and it's great being here with you. I want to let you know that I'm in the great state of Florida, the world #1 capital for tourism. And I served 10 years with the Chamber of Commerce in charge of inviting corporations to come to Florida. First of all, let me correct something you said. You said everyone around the world can now access e-visa. Very simple. Go online and get that. This is your quote, and I know very well that is not factual. E-visa. I'm in the United States. Wherever the Liberian government has an embassy, you cannot access e-visa. So how do you make that kind of claim that everyone around the world can access e-visa? I find that to be part of the information.
Okay, you want to address that, or you have others?
No, address that first.
Oh, address that.
Yeah, I see. My address it. My answer the question.
Okay. So, in all fairness, we have the e-visa portal. It's not with the embassy. We are not talking about visa on arrival, sir. We are not talking about visa on arrival, that you have to physically apply and get papers. We're talking for short visitors who want to go in the country quickly. There is e-visa portal. You can go to www.evisa.com, or you can even go to e-visa Liberia on Google. It will take you there. You can sit in your house anywhere and apply for e-visa.
Great.
I do not need. Come again?
Great. With another thing you said was
we have an understanding on that?
Well, you give us the information with researcher to make sure that.
Yeah, I'm basically going on. I'm on the site to say here to say apply for a Liberian visa online.
You're trying to correct me, and because it was an issue of information, I just needed you to understand that there are two things now in service. There is the e-visa, and there is the visa upon arrival. And to make that even easier for you, that's not our target. That's just the beginning. That's the one immigration have applied. We are still waiting for the one that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is going to deploy. And then we are looking at reciprocity for visas around the world. Business people cannot be receiving 1 year visas. We want to go for 5-10 years visa for Liberian and Liberian businesses. That's not all. We want to reach a point where we can say, Africans, you are in Africa, Liberia is visa free. Again, we're also working on something else. So you should know this. You are saying this because when you say this, it helps me to remember things. We are working with a situation, for instance, you are a British and you get into Ghana and you apply for Ghanaian visitor visa, right? But your intent is to visit 7 African countries. You don't need to go to each of those African countries or apply to each of those African countries for visa. Just because you apply to Ghana, Ghana will actually admit you into Ghana and provide the fees for all the other 6 countries, making 7. And then you have your barcode on your phone. By the time you get to the airport, there will be a scan. By the time you scan on that system, it accepts you in that country because you are valid and you've been entered in from Ghana. And automatically, because Ghana collected a fee for Liberia, as we are scanning, so is the fee going to the Liberian coffer. The same thing if you come to Liberia and apply for visa for 7-8 countries. Once Liberia accepts the fee for the 7-8 countries, each of those countries that you land in and you scan, either through the mobile app and the rest, you are in. Those are the things we are discussing. We want to make travels, interaction, integration seamless. And the way to start, even though we're starting so slow and so far back, but we are on the speed dial, and I can assure you, e-visa is available for Liberians and non-Liberians anywhere in the world.
Great. My second question would be, when there are 2-4, when you talk about ecotourism, the number one requirement to ecotourism is access, roads, parks, airfield, transportation. Now, if I wanted to go to the Sapo National Forest from Grand Bassa or from Cape Mount, if I'm telling someone from Belgium or from Florida, do not go to Orlando, come to Liberia, how do I access the Sapo National Park when I can't even get to Zwedu from Monrovia? You can do that. Now, secondly, you talk about a peaceful nation is a requirement for tourism success. A few days ago, the Independent Council addressed Liberia for the worst human rights violation in the country. So how do you align those two, and then other folks can go from there?
Okay, so the first one is access, isn't it? That's what you asked.
Yes.
Good. First of all, let me inform you. When people talk about access and they talk about coverage and they use isolated cases of one spot, then I begin to wonder how we work this out. Liberia has passed through her days, and we're working hard to get there. A lot of the country have been connected, and people can drive from Monrovia straight to Maryland by road. Only in a particular period in season that you may not be able to get to certain places, and those are being done at the moment. Contracts have been issued out. But can we leave from Monrovia to Greenville? The answer is yes. Can we leave from Monrovia to Zwedru? The answer is yes. But the question I will ask, you cannot develop tourism nowhere in the world on a national basis. You select segment by segment. Take, for instance, you just talked about Florida. Florida's weather makes it unique for people of our kind, with our kind of melanin, to feel comfortable all year round. And as long as our kind of melanin is feeling all comfortable all year round in a particular place, every other person will feel all year round there. Now, Do we have the capacity to make the roads better? Yes. Do we have the yen, to make the roads better? Yes. Do we have the funding? We're trying to get there. But I can assure you, if the Sapo National Park was the only place for people to have comfort, then I will be worried. But while we are trying to solve that road issue, there are several other road issues that have been solved that have given the rights to people to have fun with tourism around the country. And by the time, and even the Sapo National Park, people are still going there. But it's in the season. That I want to agree with you. But I can assure you, it will not be like that in the nearest future because the country has been issued out and things are being done. I went to Lofa for 4 hours. I drove 4 hours to Lofa just 3 weeks ago. I was marveled because I know that going to Lofa, I'll get hysteria about it. I'll panic about it. But I didn't have to panic. And I didn't have to go to Lofa. I went to Wasonga. That's the border with Sierra Leone. But we needed to go and see. Don't forget, Liberia used to have over 350 rare birds. For me, that is my worry. When we are destroying our swamps and wetlands, how do we get them back to bring back our natural species that are missing? Because Liberia needs to have a symbol, both as birds, both as animals, and as plants. My brother, let me give you another instance on your issue. I just drilled 4 boreholes in rural Liberia because I'm developing a 600 acres farm. I just harvested 55 acres of black rice. I don't know if you know that black rice is the most expensive rice on earth. Now, here am I. I'm not talking just about me. I know about close to 60, 70 young men from Liberia and America who have opened massive farms. I'm planting 50,000 cocoa in the next 6 weeks. We have oranges, we have guava, we have butterpea, we have soursoups. We need you. We need Tomalin to say, Criso, let's go see this farm. How can we make it consolidated? I need 10 acres in this farm to do something different. Since it's 600, you can't consume the 600 at once. What am I trying to say with that? Each and every one of us have a role to play. We have not even spoken about our investment strategy that we are using to attract investment to the various sectors that we end up directing at tourism. We are not even talking about the fact that sooner or later we have a gold refinery in Liberia that will make sure that nobody exports our gold and have a beneficiation. We are not even talking about the fact that it's a major manufacturing company about to open in Liberia that has only one material as raw material, Isabo, to produce 30 different products. We are not even talking about that yet. But the process is ongoing. We are not even talking about the fact that sooner or later there will be an agricultural bank standing in Liberia, liquid enough to cater to a lot of things. What the President Baka administration is doing and what President Baka has instructed us to do is, listen, we saw the problem when we decided to take over, and we're not going to yen on this problem. Let's solve it and move the country forward. You asked another question, if you would like to remind me.
The peace and security of Liberia, you say, is cardinal and a fulcrum for development. And a few days ago, your government was indicted or accused of massive human rights abuses.
Okay. So listen, I'll tell you this. We respect all the international dictates and reports. Yemen, Palestine, Sudan, Congo, Ukraine, and a whole lot of others are supposed to be reported daily for 200,000-300,000 people that are dying. And the only one you hear about is Ukraine. The other one you hear about is the Gaza. If you take into consideration how much has gone to save Ukraine from Russia, it runs into $300-400 billion. My brother, instead of the reports that we don't see the actual, let the people come with $5 billion and provide opportunities for jobs for Liberians and see if we will not be even more peaceful than the United States of America. Look, what we should be looking at is the positive side of our country. And not every time we are told that we are animals, and in actual sense, we are not animals, that we live in trees, we don't live in trees. What we should be looking at is the good in us for the betterment of our children and grandchildren unborn. Instead of me looking at reports, what I look at is how to better the system. Because to be honest with you, what is the human rights violation that is so bad in Liberia compared to the Western countries that we live in and we boast of?
Okay, Mr. Langway.
I was muted there. I was muted. Hey, Ambassador, thank you. Welcome to the show. J. Victor Namwe here. Thank you for making the time. I mean, the issue that my friend Jerome raised of access, you sounded a little bit as minimizing it. I think it's a very serious issue, and I hope, it is going to be given the seriousness that it deserves. But I'd like to move on to something else. You talked about a $500 billion global kelp market, and Liberia is yet to get her market share. And then you spoke of a gastronomic tourism. Can you hear me?
Liberia is yet to get what?
Market share of the kelp market. Did I miss you?
No, I didn't say that, bro. No, I didn't say that.
Okay. I thought you said we're yet to get. Okay, but let's go to the you talked about the gastronomy tourism, and I believe again you said Nigeria is taking the lead in that. Am I right?
No, I didn't say that. I said, and I quote, I said there are so many areas of revenue generation around Liberia that we can tap to grow tourism and grow the economy and create wealth. Take an example, kelp. It's right under the waters.
Okay.
And
that is
excuse me. Foreign investors coming to harvest what we have, and we're not getting any benefits from that. Kelp alone could help the economy in no small way. And there are several other things naturally available to us that we can tap into huge revenues that can help us move from step point A to point B. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. Then on the issue of Nigeria, I said we have things that we can use to do even the same compared to what Nigeria is doing with Afrobeat, the music.
Okay. So yeah, but that's the point. That's exactly my point I was making. It seems to me right now, almost everything you're saying is aspirational. What I'd like you to talk to us about is the bill that you said is making its way through the legislature. Can you tell us a little bit more about this bill? What exactly does it seek to do, and how is it going to move up beyond where we are right now?
The first thing it has to do is to provide an identity for a sector control. And that is the way you have Ministry of Health taking care of Ministry of Health, you have FPRC taking care of oil and products, you have NPA taking care of the ports. You want to have an institution that you can walk up to if you want to invest in tourism. And you also want to be sure that they understand what they're doing as regulators or as administrators and technicians to evaluate and help grow investments. So the bill that's passed into an act is actually meant to set up tourism, the National Tourism Authority, as an autonomous agency like National Fishery, NP, and APRC. And when that identity is created, it means that those people in that sector have their own institution that they can go to instead of running into an institution where they are lost, for instance, where it's a Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism. Now, the president's vision is because he knows the importance to have tourism as a complete enclave on its own. And when this is established, it's automatically going to catalyze the growth of several sectors in the country, build capacity, provide greater scholarships, greater opportunity for cross-pollination of ideas between races, and provide opportunity for cross-pollination of investments, and then provide opportunity for social interaction between people. And that is how we expand our growth of knowledge, through these sectors. But most importantly, it gives us the opportunity to appreciate our local content in a very unique way and export them in a more appropriate manner where it's packaged for the good of the country and people.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just before I pass it on, let me ask you this. Because it sounds to me like you're advocating for the establishment of another dedicated, specialized agency of government. And there are a number of us who are very concerned with the astronomical growth of government. Government is bloated. Government takes almost 90% of the budget in just recurrent expenditure. There are so many agencies that are duplicating functions. I'm sure you're quite aware that there's water and sewer, then there is WASH, and then there's public works. They're virtually doing about the same thing. So I hear you arguing that you want to remove tourism from information and make it a dedicated agency. Am I hearing you right?
It is the number one aspiration of every single well-meaning librarian, not me. I'm only doing what the aspirations are expected to provide, or what they are aspiring for.
Okay.
Because guess what? No nation on earth, everything you do, in fact, communicating with us right now is tourism. Are you aware?
Okay. All right. Thank you. I mean, we will wait to see the bill. I presume there is also provision in there to pay for this. Am I right?
In fact, the beautiful thing about tourism is not like where other agencies run around looking for money from government. Tourism could start in 2 years and never need government budget. Okay, Paul, let me say something to you right here. I took this job because I believe it and I know exactly what it's going to bring to Liberia. Okay? And because of that, I can assure you that since I took this job, the president agreed that I take this job without taking a single pay. I don't get paid salaries. If I travel to 200-300 countries in a year to solicitate and organize programs for Liberia, that money, I don't go to government. My tickets, I don't travel second class and I won't travel economy because I'm tall, 6 feet 4 and the rest. So all the monies go from my pocket. It's because I believe this sacrifice is what they want for the nation. And there are many other people in government doing the same right now.
Peabody.
Oliver Hayes, good to see you, my brother. I just passed by you in Monrovia briefly, but good to see you. Let me ask you, Chris. You talk about the different kinds of tourism. Where does Liberia fall? I mean, there are over 15 different kinds of tourism. Where does Liberia fall in the category?
It was the echo.
Can you come back again? I want to understand you. Come back again, my brother. Repeat yourself in full.
I say you talk about the different kinds of tourism, right? And there are 15 or more different kinds of tourism.
So 700 kinds.
Yes, yeah. So where do we fall? Where's Liberia in that?
In what?
In the different kinds of tourism. Are we only on ecotourism? Are we on culture tourism, adventure tourism, medical? Where do we fall? Where's our place?
I'll tell you this. This is where our problem is. That's why I say I'm fighting hard for the establishment of a civic educational department at the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism. And the reason is because Liberians need to know what tourism actually is. You see, when you say only ecotourism, my brother, listen to this. Why Gambia is practicing just one, Japan, one, Senegal, other countries, Holland, one, just sex tourism. When Liberia is fully integrated on ecotourism, it means Liberia is taking close to 600-700 of those units into one. Health tourism is in it. Environment, every other sector of tourism is in that. Liberia is, I don't think you know where Liberia is located on the map of Africa. If you just understood it, you will understand that God placed us in a very unique location for destination arrival and departure, for mineral deposits in the ocean, and for so many other things. Liberia is not just, when you say ecotourism, please note, you are talking about the giant of all composition of selective tourism you took to execute in your country.
All right. Oliver Hayes, Ambassador Hayes, let me ask you this. All right. You are traveling around the world. You are doing a lot of studies about tourism. Let's talk about this. You talk about Burkina Faso. You talk about people that are in Liberia right now who are training people into textile industry and all of that. When did this start, and how is it going to benefit the people of Liberia?
Before the program started, I'm sure you saw a clip of Discover Liberia. The team that moves around includes the chairman of NIC. The NIC includes the presidential special envoy on investment, Mohammed Ba, includes myself, and sometimes we have to beg the Minister of Foreign Affairs to attend because our schedule is overcrowded. Then sometimes we have to bring in people from other sectors, like Ben Sanvee, who is on the board of the port, and a lot of other people from different places have to attend various countries' events based on the conglomeration or the cooking of the particular investment forum or the investment conference. But if you watched what was on from Nigeria, you realize that our business is to pull all the investment to Liberia from every country that we can lay our hands on that we know have something to offer. What does Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Guinea, and the rest have to offer us? They have good traditional system to offer us. And we have to tap into that.
Hey, and welcome to Liberian Mission.
We have to tap into that. Now, if we are tapping into those people's stuff, the kind of batik they produce is so rich. Can we replicate? Yes. How do we replicate? Do we replicate by spying on them or stealing from them, or by saying you are our brothers? Let's work together. And the question is truly answered if you say, okay, that man is my brother, let's work with him and do it right. And the man is willing, because don't forget, the knowledge not shared is knowledge not have. So as I speak to you right now, everything that any African country is doing better with, that we have raw material to produce, we tap into them. Let me give you guys two products that you buy for yourselves and your children and your wives and your cousins as gifts. One is the beads you wear, the one that looks like glass on your hand. Some of them are actually glass produced from the broken bottles that they find on the street. They produce from the broken bottles they find on the street. And those broken bottles, it costs $60, 60 cents, sorry, to produce one of those brick beads that people put on their hands. And the whole factory cost about $7,000 to $8,000 to set up. But you buy those beads for $10, $20, $30 at the airport. I don't think you know that. So we are bringing people from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Mali, and other countries to train our people too. Do you know how much beads we have in the forest that drops from the trees that we use and throw around? Like the one we use for, looks like bonbon that we call the one we'll rub and put our skin that burn us. They are lockets. So our business in these countries is to pull the investment from the banking sectors, pull the millionaires and the entrepreneurs, but we also want to pull the traditional industry. Because the traditional industry that will grow rural Liberia. So these are the things we are doing. And that's why when I'm listening to you panelists asking these questions, I'm elated because it provides opportunity for the world to understand exactly what we need to do, how we need to do them to get to where we are, and what is the reason we're trying to get to where we are with what we're doing. And that's to empower and create generational wealth through capacity building and also building the capacity through knowledge and financial empowerment. So yes, Burkina Faso has a lot to offer. all these African countries, when they finish training our rural people on the technicians how to manufacture these machines, then we now go and improve the designs and orders with those who are winning the materials, so that we become authentic, crucially authentic. Then when we start to sell outside, we become vibrant, because we also have to find the markets for these people after showing them, building the machines for them, providing the materials, teaching them how to use planting stem to produce sanitary pads and the rest. We have a lot to offer Liberia because we have all the raw materials there. Every time we harvest the whole farm of planting, we just cut the stem and put them to go. But the stems are ropes, the stems are sanitary pads, and the stems are a lot of issues that local farmers could use to turn their business around.
All right, Sylvester.
Thank you, Dr. Peabody. That means I'll go even to you again, Ambassador. Yeah, I will start this way first and foremost, and I see how passionate you are, basically. But we need to go back to the reality and admit here and push you back to the issue about your government human rights record. I think the human rights report is out. Beyond the human rights report coming out, there being systematic processes we can move on to catalog for you here on this platform about blatant violation of the human rights of Liberian citizens. And you all here saying all the wonderful thing about being confident that saying that the tourists will have to move to the country and all these things. If your human rights record is not good, I'm a little bit baffled and worried here that we're going nowhere if we continue to just come up with those bold statements and we're not working behind the scenes to correct the process about human rights. It's a very major process about people moving into your country. Even the inbound tourism we refer to as domestic tourism has been hampered by the persistent issue about insecurity in the country. We have Batawi right there, right? There's no major security. So there's this issue about human rights violations, and you try to downplay this, trying to downplay a major human rights report that is damning this government. The police is being brutal. The police, the last time there was folks being hit on live camera, about 2 persons around the Sunday second area. 2, it was all on social media. And then you try to downplay that, Ambassador. And this is one of the issue of our country, right? We see the high reality. And I listened to you just now. You say you fund all of your expensive and very low zero strips pro bono. You know, and it's part of the reason for me. It's no question. We need to begin the process of being very clear here. Why will you take your own money, spend on 10,000, 15, 20,000 and spend it as though nothing? So what's the motive behind you taking a trip that you're going to spend 20,000, 15,000, 5,000 and the government is giving you nothing back? What's the intent? Are you using the government diplomatic privilege to gain something for yourself? And then you try to blindfold them by saying, I don't want nothing. But you use that privilege as an ambassador, special envoy. So it is a major process to me that we need to face here. This ambassador just now spoke here that he downplayed. I'm coming. I'll give you the time. I just come here with one point. Because it's a major issue back in the country. The human rights situation in Liberia is terrible. This president informed and told the people of our country, and he creates and condemned Mr. Weah. It's shame on Mr. Boaka to sit and his government, the legislature will go totally off on our own international airport. Now, the report that immigration is giving us, even tourist visits,
and an answer. But if you ask the question and answer it, then there's no reason for asking me a
question.
No,
I'm not asking you a question. I'm making a statement.
Oh, you're taking a statement.
Yeah, I'm not asking you a question. I'm just saying something. Saying back to you, Ambassador. I'll give you the time to respond, please.
Respond to it, right? So you're being rhetorical.
I'll give you the time to come in, please, Ms. Ambassador. That's the fun. That's my way of going through this. Because what is pinning me here?
You cannot take one clear evidence of what you're trying to say. Blatant violation, blatant that to make it extraneous. When I'm speaking, I will speak with date, time, and also the issue with examples. But when you speak to someone on an intellectuality,
I just said an example to you. Okay, first the issue that happened to the the concession company where 2 persons were killed on live bullet by the Liberian National Police. That's one of the issues in the report, in the human rights report is there. The situation that unfolded at the second junction where 2 motorcyclists were brought down on open camera. It's also in the report. I'm going to give you classic report now, and because you said I should give you an example of those. And the recent one I just unfolded, where students were protesting peacefully, and they were being attacked and brutally brutalized by the Liberian National Police.
That's why I'm disappointed in you.
No. I come in, Ambassador. I come in. Probably you expected. I'm going to get a time to talk. I will soon end here, please. I'm not asking questions. I'm making statement here.
Information, no, we can't go about back and forth. You can't be on the phone for 30 minutes expecting now to go to conjugate a verb on what you're trying to say.
I'm not on the phone. I'm not on there for 30 minutes. I've been there for less than 2 minutes.
You just said as it relates to the issue of students being brutalized and arrested, because I was there. If you look at the video, I was there. And because I was there and I spoke and tried to speak to them and they insulted and I walked away. And the other one said to me in my ear, along with Mohammed Biden, listen, Chief, they think I'm talking on no Kaleo, we can't well prepared. And you see the soup, I mean, the other men in the finance soup, the other group in the US fans that are waiting for anything else to do, they will cancel an attack. Oh, we are well prepared, we are armed here. Who is talking about that? Listen to me. We can't continue jumping on the street because we want to raise political innuendos. We are not juggling genders, compartmentalized by nuances. What we are trying to focus on is growth. Not coming to talk political gender. No, it's not going to work for us. What's going to work is, listen, if you have a child and your child's in America...
Can I just come here then? I will be in here then you have the time to come over. Listen. It is quite unfortunate that you as a presidential envoy will say the students coming to express their grievances is speaking to those kind of... It's quite unfortunate. I don't even want to go there, the direction you headed. This same United Party and Mr. Boakai went through all of these kind of a thing you just stated just now. This same United Party and Mr. Boakai. Mr. Boakai headed and even put young men in the street to do these things. Now today, the very United Party Youth League came out condemning the president, went to his home and they protested. That's not my concern. My concern is that the young people, the students that didn't have instructors for 6 months. That's a blatant violation of their human rights. The right to education is a right. Mr. Ambassador, if you don't know this, the right to education is a right. Recently at the RRA, we had almost 300 passengers on Air Brussels. That's a violation of their human right, their right to safety and livelihood. There would have been a problem because of negligence on the part of your government. Because of serious negligence on the part of your government. All these people protested yesterday, Mr. Barker, and it's like condemn Mr. Weir. They protested. No one said they were in the street saying things. So are we going to say that because you guys are part of the bourgeoisie, so the sons and daughters of the proletariat should be left abandoned? Is that what you want to say? You want to get into those things and you want to go into sounding like being more theatrical? No, we don't. I don't come up all the theatrical tonight. It's the intent. It's the intent. I come in 1 minute, but I will be ending here because if the intent, if you have been paid,
listen.
If you have been paid, then you come and condemn young people.
We're not getting you a chance right now because on a good day, from what I'm hearing from you. No, you don't sound like you're educated on the kind of way you're going about it.
No. You didn't sound. No. I come on. You didn't sound, and that's why the reason, right? You didn't sound that way when you said the young people did something. You sounded as though someone that is learning to do these things, and that's one of the reasons I took you off. Because you going on this job. 1 minute, please. You going on this job to benefit yourself. You going on this job. Listen. You taking on this job, Ambassador, to benefit yourself, and so you try to ignore.
Let us have a conversation.
We're having a conversation.
Answer the question. Answer the question now.
Okay, then can he keep quiet? Let me ask my question.
Ask the question so he answer the question now.
Okay, I will do that.
Don't be running around like a bush cow.
Ask the question.
Oh.
Now you see again. Only a moron will say what you just said.
Guys, Pewee.
Now,
Guys,
and then only a moron will talk to a booster. Only a moron will say what you just said, Ambassador.
We can't go that far.
And you know, you see, let's
move on. Guys, we can't do that.
Ask the question. Let's move on. Let's pass the question.
Quickly, Tomalin. And it's part of the reason why Liberia will go nowhere. To take a core ethics that this guy have violated a lot of people in Liberia to make a special presidential envoy.
Okay,
we had that? A core ethics. Then you come and call me. Come on. What you saying? To take a core ethics like a history of abuse, history of corruption to make presidential envoy in Liberia?
Okay.
Where are we headed?
Is that why we are on this phone? Is that why we are
headed? So listen,
the
intent is about the student. I got him mad to say things that listen, if you violate the student right, we'll say it to you.
He said he's not going to answer your question, so because
he shouldn't answer, but these are not people that shouldn't be allowed to come on the platform.
Tomalin, did you bring me on this?
No. Okay, let me progress. Mr. Russell, the next person, ask your question. Mr. Russell, ask your question.
Thank you. Ambassador Chris Hayes Onanuga, how are you, brother?
I'm good, my brother. Very, very good.
Yes. This is something that is very dear to my heart. You know, I was just in Yekepa, one of the must-see places, Mount Nimba. I was in Mount Nimba, mountain biking of Mount Nimba, and it's such a fascinating, place to be. A wonderful experience. And definitely something that we can sell to the world. There's an Echo Lodge up there, as you know, and with Echo Lodge in Reserve, East Nimba Reserve, that has a lot of potential, a lot of touristic potential. So I know the importance of tourism. I served for 4 years on our regional tourism board here in Minnesota, and I know the kind of money that we brought in, and we do not have the kind of touristic assets in Brooklyn Park or in this region of the state, except for maybe the Mississippi River and some other things. But we clearly don't have the touristic assets here like we have back in Liberia. So, and we were generating upwards of about $200 million or so a year on tourism in this area. So you can only imagine the potential that tourism has in Liberia, and just being up in Nimba and seeing the potential there. And we have many other places. My question is, the government just announced, I don't know if you have spoken about this already, so I'm sorry if you have, and then I can move on to another question. But the government has announced a visa on arrival, plan, or a visa on arrival, a plan or action there in Liberia, or opportunity, right? Okay, so but a lot of people are saying that, one, I spoke to a lot of tourist operators in Liberia, because, like I said, I'm involved in this space. I'm knowledgeable about this space. Have a lot of interest in this space too as well. So my trip up to Nimba was one of the reasons why I went out there, was to sort of do an assessment, even though I grew up there, but do an assessment of the different touristic assets that they have there. So I did speak to a number of people, a number of tour actors, a lot of people in the industry, and they are not necessarily happy about this visa on arrival action. Can you talk a little bit about it? Because they were saying that, one, the visa costs too much. So if we are trying to bring in tourists, or we're trying to compete with the likes of Sierra Leone right next door, or Gambia, also in West Africa, what they are charging for visa is way lower than what we are charging. So if we are just getting in the game and trying to attract as many, tourists as possible, eco-tourists and others, as possible, we need to do something that will serve as an incentive. At least lower the rate, or at least put together a visa, a really good, a robust visa on arrival plan, because what we have now is not working properly, or it's definitely not going to attract a lot of tourists. What can you say about that? Can you talk a little bit about the whole visa on arrival, the whole approach, the whole visa on arrival, and how can people go about applying for it? I mean, is it really truly visa on arrival, or do you have to go through the embassy again and you get an electronic visa? I mean, what is it? Can you talk to us about it?
Okay. From all indication is that there are certain things that have been mixed up here, because visa on arrival has been there from day one, and then you're asking it to be robust. If they have a problem with it, then why should it be robust? In reality, the visa on arrival has been good for Liberia from time. Where when you get here, your visa is already in your hand, and you just process at the airport, you walk. But now for business people, you need a quick visa. And it's called e-visa. It's the e-visa you're talking about. The visa portal was just launched recently by the Bureau of Immigration, which allows you to just go online in like 3, 4, 5 minutes and process yourself for visa. Makes it easy. Enhanced travels. If you talk about the cost, so now you don't have just visa on arrival that's been there from time immemorial. You now also have e-visa as an addition to easing your burden. Take for instance, you didn't plan to go to Liberia, you went to Kenya for a meeting, and all of a sudden, the embassy is closed, the airport is closed, immigration service in Liberia is closed, and the time is 8 p.m. at night. But you need to book a flight to Liberia for 4 a.m. in the morning. Do you have to cancel everything to transfer business? So you just go online on your portal, just fill the form, get approved, and you're on the flight for 4 a.m. You don't need immigration services to be sitting in the offices, neither do you need an embassy, and it wasn't a plane trip. That's what the e-visa portal helps you with. So it's already robust. So if you're talking about cost, yes, we can look at that.
Mr. Ambassador, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Wilfred. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. You're muted.
You muted, Mr. Russell.
Mr. Russell, you're muted.
Oh, thank you, Ambassador. Yes, the cost of it, of course, is an issue. So if you all can look into that, that will be fine. I think one of the things is to make it as seamless as possible and as burdensome as possible. So
that's a target.
Yeah. So okay. So that's great. Now, so in your role, what are some of the things that you are doing? Why this bill works its way through the Liberian Congress to get passed and approved and all of that? What are some of the things that you are doing currently? I mean, is the tourism sector working? Are you working alongside the person who's in charge at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism? Are you, what's your role versus what they are doing there?
Basically, I see that I have to repeat myself because this is exactly...
Okay, Ambassador, if you've addressed that already, that's fine. I can move on something else. I mean, if you've addressed that, that's okay.
But Mr. Russell, let me say this to you.
All right.
This authority is being passed, but at the same time, several things are being done. I'm not speaking because of the passion. I'm speaking because of the president's vision. And whether we like it or not, by the time the president is passing this tourism act next week or the next 10 days or 14 days, it will be a landmark development for Liberia. And Liberians shouldn't be surprised if you find out that tourism after 2-3 years becomes the only autonomous agency or semi-autonomous agency that will not be funded from government budget. Because something has happened so far. Governments have begun to battle to remove ministries from private buildings into public buildings. I don't think people know how much of revenue that has saved the economy and the people of Liberia. When agro-tourism picks up, I don't know if you have a farm in Liberia.
Is there an actual question or a rhetorical question? Yes, I do.
No, it's a rhetorical one.
Okay.
I don't know if you have a farm in Liberia or you've been Liberian and see young Liberians farming. You realize that the concentration of production on just bitter balls and pepper has reduced our borders importation from Guinea. And a lot of things are happening. And everything that happens in every sector has a proponent of tourism in it. Our greater joy is not to divide Liberia on political or religious or tribal lineage. Our greater joy is to be able to say, oh, that man is doing something, and let's go and boost him up by giving him support. Because if we focus just on what we have to do for ourselves today, we will not get the results for the people coming behind us tomorrow. And that's what tourism does. It keeps you inspired and aspiring for a better tomorrow. So yes, a lot is going on. A lot is going on. And you'll be surprised. 4 or 5 years from now, you will not ask me the question. You will say, oh, I thought I knew tourism, but now I know better about tourism. And that is the goal.
Okay. Thank you. I must say I'm very, very, very familiar. With the sector. I'm very aware of the potential and the dividends that are likely to be accrued as a result of putting together really a strong tourism platform, a strong tourism authority. So I'm one of those who I think is very, very knowledgeable about that. So, but thank you, and thanks for answering my questions.
Okay. We have Ambassador Christopher Hayes Onaniga, the Special Envoy for Tourism for the President of Liberia, as our guest tonight. Ambassador Onaniga, let me ask you this question. The tourism, as you know, is a very vital sector of any economy, and like many people here, like Mr. Gilman said, or Mr. Russell, it brings a lot of revenue to our country, to our country. So now, but like you said, right now, since you got this job, you are not being paid any salary. So how are you managing to go about to travel to go to these countries? What's the arrangement with you and the president and or the government?
With the president?
Yeah.
With the president and myself, I have an arrangement. I just do a piece of job and I must do it to the best of my ability. If I don't do the job to the best of my ability, it means that I'm not helping the government to grow and I'm causing chaos for the country's growth. So when you make up your mind to do something, you must be ready to sacrifice. Tomalin, some of us are not in government hungry. We're not in government poor. Most of the people in government know that some of us been comfortable before they even started to see funding in their lives. And we've been able to invest our fundings both outside. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
We've been able to invest our fundings both outside Liberia and in Liberia. Whether anybody likes it or not, or admits it or not, today, Citycom Liberia Limited has the largest investment in multimedia in Liberia. The largest, not investment on the count, the largest investment in multimedia in Liberia. and that's running into 2 million plus. How do we make our monies? It's one thing. Have we not been into consultancy, concession negotiation, special strategic consultancy and the rest around Africa and the world? We have. Have we run our businesses with humility and selflessness? We have. Can we give back something because we are passionate and believe that we can make it work? We have, and we should. So this particular project of some of us saying, listen, let's deliver on the passion and what we know best for Liberia. Who knows? 3 years down the line, I may feel that I've done everything I need to achieve, and I say, Mr. President, I think we've done what we can do now. If we have to continue, then we have to be able to get some stipend, but they are dedicated right now to deliver on tourism. And that's the bottom line. And don't forget, I'm a stakeholder. If tourism grows, my businesses grow. And that's the reason why when they setting up the tourism authority, I need you to know this, Tomalin. I will not be the executive of the tourism authority. I will not. I will not be one of the executive director or deputy directors. I will not. We have to transcend the bigger picture. Because if that's the only reason why I'm trying to dodge this, then my purpose is defeated in the first place. There are a lot of trained Liberians getting masters in tourism and doing well in countries like China, Morocco, and other countries. And for those, does experience play a role for Jesse? The answer is not. My businesses are not just in Liberia. I got a company somewhere else in West Africa that does oil and gas. The same Citycom that is in Liberia doing what it does. So I just want to tell you, without condition, I don't intend contesting a political position tomorrow. That's why I'm trying to look good. No, I'm not interested. Politics is not my thing. I will not come tomorrow and say, oh, the Lord told me. Then I lie. The second thing is this. We must be able to be truthful to ourselves before we are truthful to any other person. If you've known me for a while, and you know what I stand for, and I know you for a while, I know what you stand for, I should be able to stand up for you if things are going wrong somewhere and you're not there. And it should be vis-a-vis. I don't think nothing should give a second opinion to make you assume, presume, or think for me that what I'm drinking, I have a motive. And that motive is not yet known. No. My motive is to serve Liberia. Don't forget, just from the last government till now, I spent 5 years in a hotel. Why? I can explain it myself. I'm not going to denigrate our government because we are government of continuity. And I don't care who misinterpreted me, misbehaved on me in the last government. Everybody in the last government, whether I like it or not, are Liberians, are my brothers and my friends. And can we exclude ourselves from not being Liberians? Can we dodge ourselves from even looking at each other at the party, even if we don't say hello? Can we go on the dance floor and we not mistakenly hate each other or bump into each other? We need to transcend the agenda of negativity so we can actually have a better Liberia. My purpose of being in government is to serve. And when I think I'm done serving, I will back.
Okay.
So one round, then we'll go to the phone. So one more question each, and we can move to the phone. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, from the get-go, I became very skeptical when you announced where you are. You say you're in the bush somewhere. Do you have a budget? And another concern is you say you drove from Monrovia to Lofa in 4 hours, and the president couldn't do it. He flew. So can you make some clarity here to drive from Monrovia to Lofa in 4 hours? We don't have any statistics. You're not giving us any statistics. You are not giving me any measurable goals and outcome for me to say, we are going to do this from this year to that. This is the outcome. We are not seeing that. And then you pivot to the extractive industry that have developed no country in the world. You say we should extract kelp from the ocean or from our rivers. That's the same extraction that have taken us anyway. So how do you justify 4 hours from Monrovia to Lofa You know, you say the authorities have not passed the bill yet. So basically, anything else that has been done outside of the law, that the Supreme Court said it is ultra virus. So what you are doing is illegal. You have no law. You have no parameters. You have no boundary. You're doing it on your own. You have not produced any budget to see what budget you have to operate your office, and how do you derive of that budget if you work for the government?
Can I respond now?
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I don't think you are catching up with the fact that there's a Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. So there's a law on the book. There's a tourism unit on the board established somewhere working. If not, wouldn't have gotten this far. 2, I want you to listen, because the questions I'm getting are not just opposing what's available. 2, trying to bring in the authority independently to be able to do better than it's doing where it's sitting down. It should tell you that the country is prepared for growth and the government understands the growth mentality and the president has the political will to make it happen. That's what it means. Now, you talk about budget. And I repeat to you, because I have the network and the contacts that other people in government are doing along with me, we will continue to do what we have to do to make it happen. So that when the authority takes place, it will not be crawling, it will be walking, running, and talking and dancing. Then you talk about you became skeptical about where I am.
No, so are you telling me there's no budget?
Can I lay out?
No, but I won't let you to gloss over that. Do you have a budget, and how do you derive your budget?
Can you let me finish? Because you asked a question about budget, and I want to answer it, and I will not be able to just jump over you. I want to answer your question synchronically as the way you produce the questions. Can I do that?
Go ahead, sir.
So, when you look at where you ask the question, being skeptical about where I am, I arrived in Ghana this morning to visit 1 or 2 rural tourist sites and see how rural tourism attracts tourists without having to have the amenities of life, good roads, best of water, best of healthcare. How do they do it in this part of area where you see they have 30 chalets, but then the chalets are full, and you have people at the transit camp sleeping in tents, and they are not complaining. We need to know how it's done and how they are happy, because then we can replicate such rural stuff. Then we also have been to Barbados. Barbados don't have tar roads in most cases. 60, 70%, 80% of the roads are dusty roads, but tourism is there in huge quantity. How they do rural tourism that we cannot do it? That when we're talking from America, we say all the roads must be tarred, all the cars must be brand new. Or it's not true. So we are trying to see what we see outside Africa to find conditions in Africa that suits the same situation. Now you talk about budget. Like I said to you before, and I repeat, there is a Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism. I expressively interpret the vision of the president on tourism, and as his envoy, I make sure that things are done in a way. And to get you right, I'm here not alone. I'm here with the ambassador, the president's special envoy investment. Our business, as we are looking at tourism, we are looking at investment opportunities, and then we can pull people back to Liberia. When you talk about budget, because the transition is taking place, the budget of the Ministry of the Tourism Bureau exists, but they can access the budget purely on project by project basis. So if you go and search, you will see that the budget exists. The budget for my office is a different thing. I'm not supposed to own a budget. I'm not the one technically executing. I don't execute. I go to discuss. I go to encourage. I go to understudy, and I provide the technicians what I've seen. And it's at that point that they can decide how they find the funding to do what they have to do. So we need to understand at the beginning, I said to you clearly what my rules are and what the rules of the technicians who run the bureau are. So if we keep coming back with the questions that is replica of what is not my function, then the sweetness of the conversation is not going on. We are coming back to explain what we shouldn't be explaining.
Ambassador Nangwe here, Victor. Thank you again. I mean, right now this conversation is like a moving target. You know, you come, you say something, we repeat it to you. You say, no, I never said that. So what I'm going to ask you, I asked you to write it down because you did say it. There are people who are even writing in the chat that this e-visa, you seem to imply that there is a difference between the visa on arrival that you say I can sit in my living room, you said that, I can apply for, and the e-visa. Can you tell us what the difference is between the e-visa that I can get in my living room and the visa on arrival that I can get in my living room? That's one. Two, before you hang up, please tell us in your, I know you've said, you've emphasized here that you're just in an advisory role, you know, you're the ambassador, but yet you're shepherding a bill through the legislature that seeks to decouple in the tourism sector from the Ministry of Information. I'm not sure if that falls within your purview. So I'd like you to describe to us exactly what you haven't accomplished, because you were appointed back in March, and I believe you were reappointed in December. So you've been on for over a year now. What is it that you brought to the tourism industry after you clarify the e-visa and the visa on arrival? Thank you.
Mr. Russell, you off camera.
Do you not see me?
Now we can see you.
Can I go ahead now?
Yeah.
Now, I'm appealing so we understand this just straight. When we talk about e-visa, visa on arrival, you have to apply, wait for your visa to be approved by Monrovia. And after doing that approval, it could take a day or 2 or 3, then you can move. For the e-visa component, you don't need any delay. You just need to go online, and it means you will see what you have. Do you want us to go through it together?
No, I mean, look, I let me tell you, and Mr. Russell has indicated other countries in the region have it. I usually go through Nairobi. I sit on a computer, I pay $25 within hours, I get my e-visa. That's what I know, and that is e-visa as well. But you're telling us that there is a difference between visa on arrival, which we don't have. You said we have in Liberia. We don't. We don't have it. I go to Liberia all the time. Everybody on this day has been to Liberia. We don't have that. So but you say we do. But I'm asking you, how is that different from e-visa? You said e-visa is different. That is offered by immigration. But the visa on arrival.
Right now, can we do it together? So you can go online just the way you do it in Kenya and Nairobi. I'm telling you can sit in your house right now and go online and get an e-visa.
All right, Ambassador, go ahead, please.
Can we go together? It's called e-visa portal. It's Liberia e-visa is there. Tomalin, please, I just sent you a picture.
There are people in the chat, they're telling us it's not working. I haven't tried personally, but I read up on it last week. I don't know, I haven't tried the website, but there are people here that
it did work. I did try it. I want to be to be fair to the ambassador, I did try, and it was leading me through the process, but I didn't need a visa. I already
okay.
But listen, there is no visa on arrival.
Yeah, there's a difference, Dr. Peabody. I just came too. I was just there too. I'm
saying the process. I just checked the process, and I was going through it. It was guiding me to where I wanted to go in terms of. Again, I'm just saying the process. I just got up the line.
That Peabody, you somehow correct. It's here, right? But again, there's a lot of technical glitches where you have to go through it. It's not leading to this is a 3 prompt steps, right? You have to go through step 1, step 2, and the rest of that. But the system needs to be upgraded on a serious note. So as Mr. Russell said, Mr. Nambi said 25 minutes to Nairobi, the process. This is because we've been, ever since we've been on that bit trying to go through it, it's just goes this way.
Pewee, there is no visa on arrival, period.
No, I'm not, but listen, my dear brother, you know, we all want to see Liberia move forward. The intent of us is to see the country move forward. But again, the way of our leaders have been bringing folks that will not do the right thing and try to pretend as they're doing the right thing. And that's why I've been pushing the country backward, right? The intent is to see the country move this kind of a practice of doing things effectively or not. It's great for us to do. But I got my own question to ask. I just intend to, is the president appointee stay here?
If the last person is okay, or it will visa on arrival or this e-visa issue, because we need to sort it out so that tomorrow again we don't have a repetition of saying what's happening in the e-visa period.
Somebody, can I come in now?
Peabody time.
Oh, Peabody,
all right.
Okay, go ahead, Peabody.
Honorable Ambassador, let me ask you my one question here. You may have said it, you know, but let me.
Okay, it's the e-visa form.
Okay. Yeah.
You guys see it? The e-visa form.
Yeah, I did do that though. I mean,
not the form. We are talking about.
It's not a form. That's the process. Somebody we're going through us seeing the thing here.
I'm talking about visa on arrival. He said, "Man, there for years," and I said, "It doesn't exist."
But there has been some form that when you go to Liberia, they send it to you. You put it on your phone, and then when you get to Liberia,
that's e-visa. That's not visa on arrival.
No, that's not e-visa. That's the letter they give you. The e-visa is when you go to.
That a people.
Can I go ahead with my question?
Go ahead.
Mr. Ambassador, are you there, Mr. Ambassador?
I'm here with you.
Okay, let me ask you, Mr. Ambassador, about one question here. You may have said it, but maybe I didn't get it, so I want to ask again. What is your plan? What plan did you present to President Barker and say, "Hey, this is our plan for tourism, and this is what we plan to go by"? Have you done that?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. You know, maybe.
Let me come back. There is a Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism.
Okay.
And that tourism component of the Ministry of Information is technical and operational. We cannot double function. The president have advisors and have envoys. There's advisor legal, the same with his attorney general. There's economy advisor, senior and junior. There's political advisor. There's the presidential special envoy on tourism. We have our roles to play. We have our roles to enhance the vision and put out the vision of the president to aid the operational and technical institution perform better. It's not our business to go and take over the roles. So we work with them to make it better. We don't go and overload them. But as it may be now that you can see, Liberia's tourism situation is going through a transition. If you ask this question a year from now, It will still not be me answering the question. It will not be the executive director of the Tourism Authority answering that question. What are your plans and vision now that you are now a full authority, like LPRC, like NPA? What development agenda do you have? How do you want to expand tourism? How do you want to bring in revenue? How do you want to build capacity? How many people have you trained? How many persons have you brought into this country as investors? That's how we'll be talking to the Tourism Authority. And that's why there's a rigorous process to select the people who become executives of the Tourism Authority, because we know that when they come in, they'll be running. But we are doing comparatives now with what's outside and just piling those things so that when they get in, we can provide this is what will help you to find out. So at least you don't have so much to stress on in terms of looking there. Let's see how you can digest this, how you can produce them into better documentation that are practical for the growth of tourism to meet today's agenda on tourism, because we can't be running. We can't be walking. Like people are not waiting for us to grow. They're not waiting for excuses.
Thank you. I think that's clear. Thank you. Thank you. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Pewee.
Yeah, it's my time to money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to just at the point, because I do understand that our whole tourism sector been very dormant for many years. It has not been active, and one of the process, I think the past administration, the Guar administration, the deputy or assistant minister making a lot of effort then to engage our U.S. counterpart to help in many other ways. I just want to ask the ambassador, is there any plan to officially visit the United States or engage the U.S. In terms of some partnership to enhance our tourism sector? Because the intent is that folks being asking, there's discussion that because you are the special envoy of the president for tourism, is important. And the last time the president was coming to the UN, it was a major year last year. The General Assembly was pushing a lot of things about global tourism and the rest of it, and we didn't see you. And there was this news that that there's some issue about your coming to the U.S. Is there an effort you're trying to push to come here and enhance that capacity through your own expertise to see how the government of this country can also help in that direction?
Bro, we get information value. We get plenty of information. But anyway, let me say this to you. Every country is important for us, including America. The most vibrant group of intellectuals for Liberia are the Liberians in America. That's why the government recognizes ULA and every other major institution. So yes, by the time this institution is formed, like I said to you, this body is about to, the act will be signed in the next maybe 10, 14 days. When this act is signed, the authority is established. How can we run it from Liberia? I can't run from America. Nobody can run away. So, on a clear term, China has been visited. Korea has been visited. Malaysia has been visited. I just came from Europe. I just came from Dominican. Like America is not an exception. Every single country that has the opportunity in Liberians and investment cash to help Liberia grow, we have a responsibility to make it happen. And we have a responsibility to make it happen without limits. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, let me be rhetorical. How on earth do we want to build and we create exceptions? You're in America right now. There is no way you don't want to come to Liberia to do something. So if we have to come to you, then we have to come to you. But making it about me, then I'm confused. Because yes, to come to America, yes, we will.
It's not basically about you. It's that you traveling all over the other countries. We see if you want to come here to at least do that also? The fact that you're going to China, or when are you coming to the
I've not been to the UK. No, excuse me. Let me answer your question. I've not been to the UK. I've not been to Germany.
You've been to Europe?
Several countries in my life. But I've been to America every day up to 2023 ending. Up to the election.
Yeah.
So like I said to you, at the appropriate time,
okay,
the appropriate things will be done. I will do to prison without any leave.
Mr. Russell.
Thank you. And just a quick question. One of the actors I spoke to when I was in Liberia told me that 60% of the revenue from tourism, this particular business, he said 60% of his revenue from tourism is earned locally, domestically. So domestic tourists are the ones that giving him a lot of the income that he was generating and realizing from tourism. So my question to you though is, if that is the case, what plans do you have to increase the number of tourists from the diaspora to at least to a significant number? Because at this time, it's not as high, according to him, it's not as high as the domestic tourists.
Okay. Let me put it this way. Before anything good takes place anywhere, you must own your. And domestic tourism, the major aspect of it. The farm process, input, make no, you have to accept your independence, isn't it? So that's domestic farm. When you input, that's
You're breaking up.
Protection of farm produce.
You're breaking up.
Yeah,
you're breaking up. Go ahead now.
So I said,
yeah.
And I quote, you produce crop locally is domestic production in farming. So that is the same thing that happens with tourism. Every sector have domestic and global phase. When you set up your health sector very well, it runs well. Domestic, you have a lot of people in low hospitals, international health patients. That's what you call health tourism. Now, when it comes to the domestic side of tourism, it is good to hear that people are making money from domestic tourism. It means Liberians are building the confidence to travel internally between counties and the rest. And that's the first kind of tourism that must work in any country, domestic tourism. When it works, then the rest will pick up. Now, the diaspora. There are several things that have to be done, and I repeat to you, there is the operational and technical department that carries that is at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. That is what we are taking up to become an autonomous agency, the National Tourism Authority. It is this authority that will design the pillars, the framework, the plans for domestic and global tourism attraction. I keep stating what the rules are, but I keep being put to deliver on it. And that's why even our lawmakers are failing, because our lawmakers should be making laws for us, but they are ending up being the ones producing the rules, the bridges, and everything. So the expectation is high on them. They have to forcefully play the role of the executive, because they go, instead of talking about the law, they make promises that I will do road, I will build a road myself, I will do this, I will do that. Is that a core function of making the laws? The answer is no. So I keep referring to you back that we will aid the facilitation of the authority to function better. We will look outside, look at the network we have, and find a way to have global trending activities going on that will actually build the economy. So those are our concerns.
Okay, Siddiqui.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I've been following the show, and I think almost all the questions have been asked. But there's this question I want to ask the ambassador. Uh, every time you answering the question, you keep mentioning about the president vision, the president vision. Seems like you really, really care about the president vision, and which is good. But I just want to ask you this question. During the last administration, uh, public officials took a lot of criticism, and I can say that was part of the reason that the CDC could not win the re-election during the last election about how they present themselves in the public, you know, in terms of living luxurious life, putting out things that Liberian people cannot afford, all of that. And since you've been appointed, you and your co-worker Mohammed Ba, you guys have been displaying a lot of luxurious things, and I understand you say you've not taken salary and all of that, and coming from a background of you talking about the president's vision, do you know or do you understand the harm that caused, judging from the fact that a lot of people who supported the rescue mission, they don't have a job, they can't even afford to feed themselves and all of that, and you coming displaying all those things, you riding a in a plane, you displaying everything, even the food you eat and all of that. Do you know the harm that have on this government or the president's vision you are here promoting tonight?
So are you done so I can answer now, sir?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. First and foremost, the only tool, the only means of showing tourism activities in any country around the world is through pictures and videos. The other key thing that people rob from is the fact that it's the pictures and videos that shows how happy a group of people in the country is, or a country is, or how much of development they are carrying. Now, let's take it to your core point. Each and every one of us has traveled and we take pictures. We post pictures. We live our lives. Now we get to government, we pretend. That's fine. But thank God for President Donald Trump. We've understood that what is important is the deliverable. Now you accuse me, like others have accused me, I've never posted a picture of me traveling with snap pictures as was accused of. The people who posted the pictures were not accused of them. And even if someone did something by mistake, you could correct them. When somebody says, oh, you posted a picture of yourself in business class. I've been riding business class for over 20 years. And I've been posting pictures. But when somebody now tries to make it sensational, you in business class, you got a bottle of champagne and you pop in champagne. First of all, no one who is a good traveler will agree that you are allowed to have a bottle of champagne in business class or on a flight. It's illegal because a big bottle is not allowed. It's rubber bottles. So how can you pop champagne on the flight? It's also illegal. So that part of it is out of the question. But again, I want to state this clearly. How on earth? Because you just said all these things you're doing. I would like you to be specific. What is it I have done that you are actually trying to state so I can address that particular issue?
Yeah, a couple of months ago, you and Mohammed Ba took a photos in a business flat rather, and you were eating some food, the same food that Eugene Nambe of Maritime was criticized for months by the Unity Party folks. drinking, and you don't need me to go into it. You posted that photos on your Facebook.
Example and be clear. So every word you use, I will try to address it. So you say eating food and drinking. Please be specific.
No, I don't drink. For me, I don't drink, so I don't know alcohol. I don't know whether it's champagne. But the fact of the matter is, you posted those
I've never
photos.
had alcohol in my life. I've never smoked and I've never tasted coffee.
And apart from that, Ambassador, you've always posting, luxurious photos, food restaurant you go to eat. They are on your page, and I can download some of it and send it to Tomalin. You share it on the screen. That's okay.
Ask you
If not on your page, it will be on Mohammed Bar page.
No, please get it straight. Let's get it straight. I have been on business class for over 20 years.
Yeah, but the point is, Ambassador, the people who were criticized yesterday, they also robbed business class before, but because they were in public offices, they were being criticized because partisans of the party were hungry, they were not getting job and all of that, and people think that they were not necessary to be displaying some of those photos on the internet. So it's the same thing you are doing now. So I'm just concerned about the harm, some of your posts got to do with the president's vision that you are promoting.
I will say this to you. Let me correct this first of all. I don't drink and I don't smoke. I've never done that since I was born. And even better, I've never tasted coffee in my life. So when you say doing all those kind of things and you're saying drinking, I need you to exempt that. And I'm proud of you that you have been having the kind of self-control that I have not to drink. Because it means your senses are intact just like mine. So when I say things, I don't have to drift. So making it sensational, the way people do it is our context. And secondly, Mr. Siddiqui, for over 20 years, I've traveled business class, I've posted pictures. Everybody in government posts pictures. The difference with me today is that I'm advising conditions on tourism. And the only way to say tourism to any country, that's why Rwanda, America, Turkey pay billions of dollars to CNN and rest just to show up videos and pictures. And they show up culinary food. They show up clothes, fashion. They show waters, beaches. They show hotel infrastructure. They show hospitality, greetings. That is tourism. And I'm praying and hoping that we change our mentality and every Liberian begin to let people know we can post palm butters. When I post myself using my hand to eat okra and fufu, nobody argues that. Okay, nobody argues that. And I do that all the time. Why is it you separate the okra and fufu from that? And how much is it? I'm going to say to you, I will not do anything that would disturb the mindset. But I will not allow the opportunity that comes to celebrate Liberia, celebrate our culinary, our influence, and celebrate my movement because of any other further conditions.
Okay, Robert.
Thank you. It's great to have you on, Mr. The Special Presidential Envoy on Tourism. Let me start with the last few comments you made, which I take offense with. You said something about it's important to take pictures and post pictures. And I don't think that should be coming from the ambassador. On tourism. I think that's beneath you, and I think it does little to uplift the tourism sector in our country. Now, I want to highlight something. I will highlight Jamaica, for instance. When you come on a platform like this, I think it's important, and it's a great dialogue, and it's important that we have these conversations. But we need to talk about the big things, the things that will truly drive and uplift tourism in our country. By the way, I'm sure you probably is aware of the importance of the role that tourism played in the economy of serious country. Barbados, for instance, the effective tax revenue in 2021, when the revenue in tourism dropped significantly from $1 billion to 600,000 United States dollars. The Jamaicans, for instance, generated close to $4 billion in tourism revenue in 2023, and they experienced a significant drop of $2.5 billion. It affected key sector, especially the job creation in Jamaica. So when we talk about what the act would do, what you have done, what kind of advice you're giving the president, I want to hear some serious discussion. I'll give you an example. Jamaica, they are investing in airlift, and the goal for that is to increase air connectivity from South and Central America. They recently secured new routes through the LATAM airlines, which goes the route to Peru and South America, right? The goal is to basically tap into new markets, right? They're utilizing the age of technology by investing in digital transformation, right? The goal is to improve communication and customer experiences. They're also investing in diversifying tourism products. You talk about the beaches in our country. You talk about domestic tourism. But what revenue, what significant revenue can you name that have benefited the country overall economy when it comes to domestic tourism, right? They are diversifying tourism product beyond traditional beaches. And you know what else they're also doing? You talked about coming to America. You said something about whatever we need to do to come to you. When my brother Sylvester asked you about when the last visit you made and things like that, you don't have to come to America. For instance, they are investing in symposium, right? They have a whole product. They're having conferences, business conferences. Last but not the least, they've also pushed ecotourism because there's many segments of tourism. I can name over 25 that developed countries have used over the years to improve their economy. Liberia, we have to start small. My question to you is, when you look at countries that are benefiting from tourism, the revenue, the importance of tourism, and looking at the case of Liberia and how far back we are. We're so far back to the point where we attempted to mimic the year of return that Ghana did. And it showed that our infrastructure was so poor to the point where we did not, I'm not sure how much was even generated from that attempt, because it had absolutely no plan. So we need true experts. We need people who understand tourism practically and academically. So when you looked at all of these countries and what they've put in place to improve tourism, I want to ask you this question. Do you think that you've done a great job as envoy to the president on tourism? I know the authority has yet to be established. I know there's lots of work that needs to be done on there. I know expert Liberians who have the practical and academic experts in this area have got to get on board. But do you think that you fit the characteristics and the qualification to truly lead the task until this is done, to really give the president serious advice on what we need to start driving tourism in our country?
Are you done?
Yeah.
I asked you a question. I've landed. Go ahead, sir.
But I need to be sure you do. I don't want to interject.
No, I've landed. Go ahead.
Okay. To be honest, I've not been able to understand 90% of what you said because it was like movement around. But at least I understand the last question.
Oh, no. Hold on. If you don't mind, I don't want to interrupt. It's very important. Since you did not understand 90%, I will slow down and I repeat what I said. I think it's very important. I don't want you to miss most of what I said. So let me slow down, please, for the sake of the audience.
Robert, he said. Wait, go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
90% of what you said.
Tomalin, this is just unfair. He got the call.
No, it's unfair. Tomalin, it's unfair. Let me repeat what I said.
Unfair, Raul, go ahead.
Let me repeat what I said so he can understand what I said. I don't want him to go.
Wait. Let him finish. I beg you.
Okay, go ahead.
90% of what you said, I'm not able to grasp to respond on it in detail because it was flying. I honestly, the first thing you said that you were disappointed or something concerning pictures. And I honestly, the last question, if I'm fit. But I answer the latter, then go back to the first. And then the manner in which you went around the issues, I will try and see and touch the ones I feel are grasp.
I want you to halt him and you go back on your question.
No, Ambassador, let me help out. Let me help out. No,
Robert, you have a follow-up, but let you finish. You have you have the floor. Go ahead, Ambassador.
First of all, in the wisdom of the president, I'm qualified to do a piece of job. And I'm doing it selflessly in the interest of the Liberian people. On the last question, that's my answer. On the issue I have is appealing or you were disappointed because as ambassador of tourism, I shouldn't be talking about taking pictures. Now, I don't know why I have my phones in my hands in the first place and why I'm on social media. I'm sorry if you feel offended, but I will not stop. On the issues relating to what Jamaica is doing, Jamaica's conditions, environment is Jamaica. Liberia is dealing with her own situation that's adaptive to her. When you talk about revenue, the reason why the authority is being established is to be able to contribute to what she has not been contributing to. And the authority needs to be established to allow that function so that you can ask that question in a year or two from now, and then the answer should be available. How can an institution that you don't invest in be able to benefit you? From year in, year out, there has been no monies in the budgets for tourism. Last budget, there was $400,000. That's how the surfing competition was able to be held in Cape Mount, because there was budget allotment for it. Now, the only time budgets were allotted between 2018 and 2023 was when we're having the centennial anniversary. $1 million was invested into it. But what was it used for? It was used for paying the people who brought in sound from another country and a whole lot of stuff. But there was nothing put in the budget for tourism for years and years in, year out, because it was in the department. When tourism comes out as an authority, then there'll be room for you to question the authority on a yearly basis if they don't perform. But till now, I don't see how you're going to do that.
Okay, so let me go back. I think it's important. Let me go back to what I said, and I don't think that. And I'm not saying you can't use your cell phone. I said I think for your position, I think it's beneath you when we're having serious discussions on tourism and how we get there. I know we have a lot to do. For you to talk about posting of pictures and videos on social media, it doesn't work that way. And you don't need the establishment of the tourism authority to start looking at ideas like what the Jamaicans are doing and investing in human capital. You don't need the establishment of an authority to tell the president, Mr. President, while we are with the establishment of the tourism authority, I think it's prudent and it's important that we start looking at what the Jamaican Center for Tourism and Innovation have started doing, investing. Yes.
No, I don't know at what point you got involved in the conversation, because everything you're trying to ask, you are trying to get me to answer are things we discussed and I put forward before earlier in the conversation before I opened. I said why the authority is being established. There are contacts being made, and I explained in detail for close to 10-15 minutes on this. But I don't know if you heard that, or I don't know if you were with us when we started the conversation at the beginning.
I was following, sir. I was following, and again, I was following. But again, I'm sorry to say that I don't think that at the level that you are, I don't think the answers that you give, I don't think those are conversations that you should be having, right? And this is the reason why I gave you an example. I gave you an example. 1 second now. I don't want us to talk over each other. I gave you an example of what other serious countries are doing. It's not a brain surgery, right? And so based on the recommendations you made so far, right? Again, I don't think it has what it takes to get us or to even commence any serious conversation around tourism, and it bothers me in particular because when the tourism authority is established, it's on the foundation that you set. It's on the advice that you given the president that this will be this will start. So let me repeat what I said real quick, and I will stop here.
Can you give me an idea of what I said that you said was not good enough?
You did not. I did not hear anything of substance when you talk about the foundation and setting the blueprint for Liberia's tourism. I did not hear anything substantial, which is the reason why I give an example. So let me repeat. What I want to hear. Well, let me repeat.
I'd like to ask a question. The things that were not of substance, can you mention one that I said?
Sir, let me repeat. Oh, no. I think what we should be talking about is how we get started. And I did not hear you say, for instance.
Okay, he answered. Okay, so Robert, he said he should mention the things he said that wasn't of substance.
I did not hear anything that was of substance. I don't have time to nitpick what he said. So let me give you an example. What I want you.
I want to tell him 1 minute. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mr. Robert, sorry, I won't be able to answer your questions as it is, because if I'm not saying anything of substance, or what relevance will you try to put it into my head to not say?
Because I did not hear you say, for instance, I want to have a dialogue, and the other guys can come in. I did not hear you say, for instance, as a country. Well, let him talk, Tomalin, because he's talking over me. Let him talk.
Tomalin,
yeah.
When we come to have a conversation like this, we must be mature about it, so we can accept people's differences and be able to address them out of pure heart. If I'm told that someone was following all the things we said for the last 2 hours, and what I said was nothing was of substance, fine. But then the person is telling me that what they think I should be saying, then automatically I say fine. Before I listen to the thing you think, because all of us have ideas, we can cross-pollinate and we can develop on the ideas of what people think. But tell me, if you say you are following, that was a good thing. Just tell me 1 or 2 things that were not of substance that I say. Then you say you are not following that. So then it doesn't show that. It means that we're just trying to filibuster. And
we're not filibustering. You just said that. You just admitted that under your watch, the president, but Ambassador, we can't talk over each other now. I'll let you speak. Let me speak. Okay, go ahead.
You were the one who was speaking for the longest. And I tried to address the issues, but then you tell me that nothing I said was of substance. As much as it's denigrating, I will accept. But as much as I'm accepting, I want to be sure that the things that are substance that were not of substance that you said I said, you can give me a few so I can correct myself.
But it was under your watch. It was under your watch. This is what is not substance. I would not have advised the president to invest $1 million just to pay folks who brought speakers for an event that brought no revenue in for the country. That's number one. That's substantive. That's not of substance. And so, what is of substance that I want you to talk about?
You move this conversation forward, please.
But we can't. You keep interrupting. I want you to speak. If you're speaking, let me keep quiet so you can speak.
Yeah.
Can we move this conversation forward?
Okay, so we can move the conversation forward, and this is my view on how we'll move the conversation forward.
No, sorry, sir. If you listen, if you don't have an idea what I said before,
you will not detect to what I list. I'm sorry. You would not do that, Ambassador.
Okay.
So I'll give my view. You don't have to answer the question. My view is how we move the conversation forward.
Myself.
No. Don't
like this.
Yeah. Okay.
So please, let's moderate.
We got 26 more minutes, guys. Let's.
But Tomalin, the
guest cannot
exactly. You can't detect the Robert ask the question.
Listen,
you want to detect to that.
Listen,
let me speak.
But Pewee, the guest is saying that Robert said that he said something.
And I just need one, Tomalin. I need one.
Okay,
I need one.
What was it, Robert?
I need one. One is he just said and admitted that he just said in a. Let him
he said it wasn't on your watch, Robert.
Okay, but it wasn't on your watch, but it was done. It was done, right? But you admitted to that. The president invested $1 million into a program that was bringing no revenue in for the country, only to pay folks who brought speaker. So here's how we move the conversation forward. One second, Tomalin.
Robert, we have administration. We're not doing the administration of President Garguah. So you can't. That's what he's saying. You cannot accuse him for that.
Here's how we move. Tomalin, here's how we move the conversation forward. I started my statement by saying I don't think at the level of the ambassador, he should be talking about, and this is just my view, he doesn't have to agree with it. Given the magnitude of what we're discussing when it comes to Liberia's tourism, I don't think that the ambassador should be talking about taking pictures and posting videos, especially when it's on his social media website. The tourism sector is far behind because of the lack of simple common sense ideas and the lack of true experts on board. I want the ambassador to talk about things such as an example, where we get started on tourism as a country. Are we looking at ecotourism and cultural tourism? That's one. Are we also looking at investing in capital? Number two, are we also investing in airlifts? Number three, are we also utilizing the age of technology? These are serious things in serious countries that he sold, and today they're making billions of dollars in tourism. He has not mentioned any of these things.
Okay, Robert, before you can, I think he talked about where they are, to ask you questions, and he get an overview of where they are right now. So, and then Siddiqui asked that question you asked about the pictures, and he said that he used it to use it to attract tourism. Through that means.
Yeah, but but again, he just made my point. You don't do that by posting something on his page. That's not the idea we need to move our tourism. Tomalin, is laughable that the ambassador will talk about.
Robert, you can't force him to accept.
I'm not accepting what I'm saying. No, Tomalin, I'm not accepting. I'm not forcing him to accept. What I'm telling you is we have an uphill battle here to when it comes to tourism. And when we have this conversation, especially at his level, we should be talking about serious issues, given what other countries have benefited to move tourism sector forward. We can be talking about the ambassador posting pictures and videos on his personal page. How many photos?
So Raul, the ambassador did answer that question. He said that he'd been flying before he even got this job on business.
But I don't care doing it. But that's not my contention. I don't care. But what I'm saying is, for instance, we should have a website, right? Multiple websites based on what we're talking about that reach out and connect Liberia to tourists, not on the ambassador's personal page. I don't care about what he puts on his personal page.
No, he's not putting that on his personal page.
What page is he putting on?
I think you should let him answer the question. Did you see the page? Did you see what he put up, Robert?
What page? Okay, what page is he putting on?
It's on a personal page that the people. It's on a personal page.
So do we have a website?
The bill is still in progress.
What picture did he put up? What picture did he put up?
Everything the ambassador does, he put it on your Facebook page. In traveling, he put it. He go to restaurant, he put it there.
What ambassador does not get paid from the government? If that's his own money he's spending, then that's his prerogative. What picture he put up?
That is even unrealistic. That is even unrealistic.
That's why we should start investigating why are those things happening.
Peabody, let me say this. We should not play with our country when we're talking about serious matters. Tourism can break or make Liberia's economy. My point is, this ambassador should not be talking about posting pictures and videos to reach out to people. That's not a serious conversation. It's not.
Okay.
This becomes hard to see that we can have this kind of petty conversations instead of moving forward on things that will grow the country.
We can't move forward. You don't have any ideas on how we move the tourism sector forward. I ask you, do you think you're competent enough to be giving the president the kind of advice to move the tourism sector forward? That's part of being honest on how we move our country forward. Do you think you have that competence?
Yeah. No, please don't leave. Please don't leave. Wait a minute. Don't leave, please. We're at the end of the constitution.
But too many. I come in 1 minute. You see, and that's the same thing.
No, but please, honestly,
you gotta let him ask the question. Let him answer the question.
Listen, I think all the guys there were before. All the questions they're asking, he addressed. He get an overview of the tourism, where we are right now and where it is right now. He asked all the questions, so it's like, but what is getting is that he asked the same question again for him to explain again in different form, and that's the problem. He already asked the question. We asked the question about where the tourism is. He said it's a bill that is before the legislature still. The president got to get his bill to sign it. They have not reached to that point yet. And
the bill got nothing to do with this ambassador. I'm not talking about the bill. I'm talking about this bill is separate from the role of the ambassador. Okay. It has nothing. He's been in this position for going almost 15 months now. Since Walker took over. I'm talking about what conversation are being held to start the groundwork to move the tourism sector forward. He hasn't mentioned any of those things.
Let's move forward. Okay, let's move forward.
See, I think we should move forward. But again, what is important in the country is that we ask some serious questions.
We gotta ask serious questions, man.
Forward, right? Now, if one or to ask, and this is the same thing I unfolded during the Miss Liberia time when team was unfolding again. This very ambassador managed that program at the time. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of terrible accusation came about. They removed that responsibility from him. When folks begin to ask him questions, now you are a special envoy. What was your role at the time when all those things unfolded? What did it? I mean, you see too many. What is affecting Liberia is that we try to cower in to individuals that believe they can go and do behind the same situation. It's unfortunate. The man should prove, as you tell, he's competent, what he's done personally as individual to transform the sector. It's not about.
Okay, but let's do your closing.
So, I mean, we want to trend the line to ready start asking hard questions.
Your closing.
He was going on the attack. We want to go for a lot of things we uncover. Let's go on. Let's move something, man.
The intellectuality and sound manners to which we present our country matters a lot. And I beckon onto every single Liberian. You can have all your political differences, but when it comes to national growth, the synchronism should be unique. Tourism is growing, whether we like it or we don't like it, whether we believe in the system or not, whether we are part of it or not. What my most important interest is, and that's the interest of every Liberian, is that tourism grows, that tourism grows, that it helps to improve our life standard. And it provides the opportunity for each Liberian to be self-employed or motivated or inspired to take his destiny into his own hand or her own hands. I thank you this evening for this show. I thank you for the disparities of opinions and the rest. What matters most is that we live Liberia, we think Liberia, we love Liberia. But Liberia will become the choicest destination for tourists around the world in the shortest possible time. And on this note, I will say to my friends and colleagues and citizens and partners in the different sectors or different sphere of disagreement and the rest, that we just have one patrimony. When we destroy each other so badly that nobody is credible to do nothing, who will do something? God bless you as you take a nice night, and that's what it is.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thanks to the ambassador for coming out. Tomalin, I think it's important, and it's good. I got wait for you. I think it's important that we draw these contracts. You know, I looked at Winfrey every time he goes to Liberia, and I looked at the content and the things that he tries to do. I think if you watch his account and the things that he tries to do, I just looked at his video recently. I think it gives more significance when it comes to what Liberia has to offer than the ambassador, whether he flies business class, whether he posts bomb butter on his page, whether he posts videos and pictures on his page. This is not the conversation we should be having. The smaller countries that are bringing in billions of dollars in revenue are not having these conversations. The ambassador of Jamaica was at my hotel a few weeks ago with the tourism minister and one of the board members having a conference on why you should visit Jamaica. And in that conference, they had a whole list, do a video, a professional video. And it's a reflection of what they've invested in digital transformation, connecting with the rest of the world. These are serious conversations. They have over 300 business folks in different sectors to convince folks why they should come to Liberia, content creators from different countries around the world. And you know what? The government did not spend a dime outside of putting together what they already had. Let's have these serious conversations. We should be talking about ecotourism, cultural tourism, and what it takes to start that process in Liberia. There's over 25 sectors when it comes to tourism around the world. Why have we not settled on 2? That makes sense, that is economical for us to start the process right now. We cannot have an ambassador at the level he is right now, advising the president on tourism, come in and talk about taking pictures, taking videos, business class, and all of the stuff that he talked about. It's insignificant to the growth and development of tourism in our country. We gotta have serious conversations. Other countries that that have
Christopher Onaga
are moving forward. They're moving forward. Why are we not moving forward? So it's not disrespectful. It's not unfair to ask the ambassador, does he have the competence to hold the position he holds right now? Because from all indications, I have not heard a single idea, anything for that sort, that improve tourism. And I'm worried. I'm worried that if you have such a gentleman on board, without the establishment of tourism authority right now, what would happen if we recruit 5 of the ambassador, 10 of the ambassador with his experience and his expertise? We got to do better, man. We got to do better. To get better, we have to do better. And no, tourism is not growing. Tourism is not growing. Do we have the potential to grow? Yes, we do, but it's not growing. So don't come here and tell us tourism is growing and in the shortest possible time, Liberia will be a tourist destination. No, it doesn't work that way. It took Ghana 25 years to get the ball rolling. It's not a walk in the park.
You know, we started sometimes we come on the show to actually be calm and do things. The first thing we started this show on was that we try to set the basics. You see, I'm one of those individuals that was encouraging him to have conversation on this matter. But the point is that when we even start talking about the airport first and foremost, you want to be dismissive. You cannot be dismissive when you appear on this kind of a show. You have to provide some of the way forward as to what role are you going to play to advise the president as a special envoy? As a special envoy, your responsibility is to move out. And that's, you know, when I was asking the question to him about coming to this place, he might go to different places. Not what basically I was getting. I didn't go that route. I didn't want to go that route. He said, oh, you're coming to camp. Oh, I was not going that route. But the first thing is that when we come on the show, it will respect you as the guest. You have to respect us as the panelists. Now, sometimes, again, there's a small terrain we find ourselves. Some of the panelists can have very good friends and probably that people are a little sympathetic towards and they are good friends or so. So you try to use that now to see if you can find one to attack them. And listen, I don't know some, you know, just like I keep from
No, but let me
I come up in a good mood, and that's one of the reasons why I was a little bit soft. But listen, if we all play a role in the country, and you say the young students that went and Rawa just did that something that Ghana took 25 years to set the basis to start ripping from what they set up. For to get set up, we have to do the requisite and the needful process planning. You need to project a sense of security and peace in the country, right? For your country to be. Now, if you get on an Air Brussels flight, you will see as a short video. I know you can be very curious to do what I can do on the plane. It's a video of Togo, the Senator Lomé. There's a short video of 10 minutes of Lomé. There's a video of Mali, there's a video of Gambia and the rest of that. These are things we have to start to do. But the very Brussels flight, trying to land in Monrovia, is like this Brussels will do that on their flight for us. Yeah, but he's dismissing that. You cannot even put the light on there.
Yeah, but here's the thing now. You see,
it's a problem.
When if you ask the person a question on an issue, you ask the question and then, but don't do it in a way the person will feel that you're trying to like you have a different motive with that, different motive where you try to do the question. Okay, he spoke. I think when initially. Mr. Nangu was here, Mr. Gamer was here, and he addressed the other issue now, right? The question, Mr. Gamer, I'm not sure they were even happy with setting up with your question, but they didn't like you know, Mr. Nangu and he was well, he was answering the question directly, right? And he left it. But when you try to, because forget that you may as well guess. You can be a guest to fee. Like just coming to come and just.
I can really get into something.
Let me say something else before I go. Right? I think.
Tomalin, we're not yet to pamper our guests.
No, not pamper guests.
Yes.
You can't. I mean, you can't be the guest feed that.
That'll Peabody energize him because that'll Peabody already been nice.
Let me say this.
And that still be nice.
No, let me say this.
Like comrade. So
the man of God. He's a man of God. He gotta be nice.
But yes, I won't ask a question that will be personal to somebody.
Yes.
I would, and that's why you guys were going on.
Yes.
Because
what a personal question. What a personal question.
He attacked Pewee for calling him bush chicken or bush animal or something like that.
Then you say that?
Yeah.
Listen, guys.
You see, I can't. Peabody, 1 minute, please, Chief. 1 minute. You see, Peabody, do you know the reason why sometimes, and there's no space he have to say, "Well, that's on the show," but sometimes we'll calm down for the sake of the show. But let me say something quickly. I didn't just want to go after him, but there's a lot of room. And then the bracket thing, they didn't investigate. I mean, should not be involved. The Miss Liberia saga, if he went through that, why they took it from him? They shouldn't make him involved. Just the Miss Liberia saga that he went, the kind of terrible thing he did in the country to we don't want to go there. Why they took it from him? Why they question that?
I mean, you should have asked him though. I mean, I would have had an opposition, but what I'm saying is,
you didn't want to attack him. You didn't go to that.
When you going back and forth with the guest, you did this. He called you this. He called you that.
If you're a public servant, you ask you the hard question.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's doing that before. You know. And you can always do it.
I agree with that.
Do you know one of the most important aspects we talk about? I was mentioning Jamaica taking advantage of digital transformation. Do you know one of the most important aspects of tourism right now, especially in countries that are considered safety risk, is the ability to commute? Now in Liberia, we have a lot of security problems. We have infrastructure problems. Mm-hmm. But you know what we can do right now? By utilizing technology, we can ensure that Uber is in Liberia. We don't even have Uber in Liberia. When you go to smaller countries that still have security issues, countries like Haiti, the Ubers in Liberia in Haiti. So when we're having this conversation, Tomalin, we should have them seriously. He shouldn't be offended when people ask him questions about his qualification. Ask me a question about my qualification.
This is not the choice of words.
Bro, look at the way he answered. Look at the way he answered that question about Jamaica. He said Jamaica, Liberia's Liberia.
Thank you.
Learn from Jamaica.
Come on, Tomalin. Come on, man.
Tomalin, let me tell you something. First of all, the gentleman, I'm in Florida. I served on that tourism committee for years. We talk about major stuff. First of all, he used the term with Siliki. He said, "I'm glad you don't drink. That means you have your brain intact."
See?
So that means for those who drink beer,
our brains are not intact. Exactly.
I read it down. Okay.
Can you read that again? Exactly.
Can you read that again?
I
want to come up.
Sylvester, wait. Get up and repeat that. I like that quote.
Is that Siliki? I'm glad you don't drink. If you don't drink, it means you have your brain intact. You remember he said we should take note, and I put my pen up, and I was taking note. So this is. I think he's a PR man. He's not a tourism man. He's there to sell the image or whatever. But he is not a tourism man.
Well, the ambassador said he might get him a year from now and see what happens. So
but Tomalin, the thing about it is,
the man said you go from Monrovia to Lofa in 4 hours. Hey man, in 4 hours from Monrovia to Lofa.
Don't make me laugh.
So he's been there.
And then finally, when he was talking about, you are not allowed to drink on the flight, it's illegal, and this and that. So I got to the FAA website, and this is what it said. FAA regulation prohibit travelers from consuming alcohol that they bring. You are not allowed to bring it, but you can drink it, you can buy it, as long as you buy it from the airline, and the steward serve you.
But we don't even get plastic.
Bring it. What do you think he buy?
But the man said it's illegal to even drink on the flight. And
by the way, we don't even get plastic bottles of whatever quantity of wine in business class. That doesn't even happen. But to your point, it's illegal to drink what you bring on the plane, and not what you serve on the plane.
That's correct. It has to be served, and it is there. You have to be served. That's how it is. For him to say it's illegal, you can drink on the flight. And I'm saying, how this man, is he the only one that ever flew to say these
But
things?
none of this, and then the other guys come in, none of this baffles me more than how the thing that really pissed me off is we are not having the serious conversation on tourism. We need to start having serious conversation on tourism. I speak with authority on this issue.
Because he has no plan.
Start having serious conversation on tourism.
He has
I don't want to
nothing
hear him talk about posting videos and taking palm butter picture on his post. No, that's
Eating
not the
palm
kind of
butter with
conversation
hands.
we're having.
Eating the palm butter with his
Let
hands.
other guys come in.
Well, you know
No,
what?
I was gonna
Go ahead,
you know, quickly. I was gonna say this. I really think I don't think the ambassador has a plan. You know, I really don't know, but because I'm assuming Tomalin, he asked for this show, or even if he didn't, he got noticed way in advance that he was coming. This is supposed to be a PRO opportunity for him.
Thank you.
What did he really say today to promote the tourism business in Liberia? Nothing. He came with nothing. He has nothing. He's been in the office over a year now. Where is the website? Where is the jingle? He is in broadcasting. I was just looking him up. He has a radio station, Cone FM. They say he owns it. What is it that's why I'm asking, what is it that you've done so far since you've been there? You know, he sidestepped that question. I think it's Sylvester mentioned, for instance, those little videos when you're on the plane, almost all the countries in the West African region, they have their little tourism thing, you know, you watch it while you're on the plane, and you know, you could get interested and come and see. But he came with nothing. He's just talking off his head. You know, he's throwing these big words around kelp market for $500 billion. What does Liberia have to do with that? He couldn't say. You know, gastronomy, tourism, you know, Nigeria is eating our lunch. So how is Liberia trying to claim a market share in this business? I didn't hear anything like that. He's in Ghana. Last 2023, Ghana brought in over almost $4 billion in tourism.
Yep. And that pissed Jamaica off because that was the first time they ever made that kind of money.
The man told you you were on an undisclosed location. You can't tell you where he was.
We are due respect though. Now, I came in after his introduction, so I'm not sure if you were able to outline, Tomalin, what the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism, the whole tourism sector, and what he is doing. What is his mandate? You know. So so that's part of that.
Well, let me say to that. What he said was his position is advisorial. The operation people and all of that there are the Ministry of Information and Tourism. So he's just like, so he is selling the business. Yeah. But of course, he's also pushing a bill that seeks to separate the tourism business from the Ministry of Information.
To extract that and make it.
But that bill did not come from him. That bill did not come from him.
No, it didn't come from him. You got the Liberia National Tourism Association, Mayor Ure, and Lisa Antoine. You know, I mean, there have been a lot of people who have been pushing this for a long time.
Right.
So, and he may have been a part of it, but I know he's not one of the key folks who started the conversation around pushing that.
So like he's trying. I mean, from what I gather, after what he has been doing since he got at the job, I think something in the pace where when the bill is when it become law, everything is established, then the people who will be appointed to this place, they are already laid the groundwork for them and say, look, this you got much.
But how is he doing that though? How is he laying the groundwork?
He's been traveling and holding discussion.
Yeah, but Tomalin, so he's traveling. I wanted to ask him that picture on the plane with him buying all that jolly. How is that promoting
benefiting?
Yeah, I wanted to understand that.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the things, I mean, I brought it up to him, and as Robert said, you know, when I went, because this is, like you too, Robert, and maybe many of others here, I'm very passionate about tourism too, and I love to travel. I love to blog and catalog my travels and all of that too as well. So after I got done doing what I was doing in Liberia, or what I went there to do, I had made connections with these guys for a long time. You know, the folks who own a number of these different resorts around Liberia. And so that's how I went up to the Nimba Eco Lodge and, you know, met those guys there. And I talked to, you know, to a number of the folks, not just the owners of those places, but the people who work there. I mean, many of those guys, those young Liberians who work in, you know, those places, they all know me. You know, I talk to them, you know, and just to understand, you know, how they were doing and, you know, and all of that. But I talked to many of the actors, you know, hoteliers and folks who in the restaurant business, you know, just having a sort of, I mean, it's just the way I operate, just having a conversation. And one of the things that came out of the conversation, Robert, is that the guys, I mean, folks are saying that it is too expensive. You know, at least if we're trying to attract tourists, especially not the domestic one. Now, the good thing is that one of the guys told me that 60% of his revenue income around tourism, for example, Libasa, 60% of the income comes from domestic tourists. You know, so my question, you know, and one of the things he said that was that maybe one of the reasons why is that they were not getting a lot of folks from Europe and America, was because it's, you know, I mean, there was so many other reasons, so many other factors, right? But one of the things that he highlighted was the whole visa on arrival, visa process, and how expensive it is and how cumbersome it is, and, you know, all of that. And so that's sort of why I started my question, asking him about the whole visa process, and why it's cheaper to, they said to me, you know, I've not done the research to find out if that's the case, but one of the guys, what they were saying to me was that it was cheaper to fly into Gambia or fly into Sierra Leone as far as getting the visa as a foreign person than it is to fly into Liberia. So if we're trying to get people to come in, encourage people to come in, we're charging them such exorbitant visa fee to come in, you know, that's discouraging. So that was one of the things that, so if he's advising the president or advising the authorities, I mean, that would be one of the things that they have to look at. I mean, he did say that, you know, that they're probably going to look into it, you know, into that. Yeah, but, you know, you're right, Rob. I mean, there were just so many things. I mean, the weekend I was there, the weekend before, just that Nimba Eco Lodge, there were almost 90 people who visited there, right? And the weekend after, the American ambassador and a whole group of folks from Minnesota that I know too were up there, you know, that went up there. I mean, you know, so I mean, it's just huge potential. But you know, but to be able to realize a lot of it, I mean, we all be talking. I mean, there are a lot of other things that are interrelated, and if we're not addressing some of those things, whether it's at the airport, whether it's at the visa, you know, the process and all of those things. I mean, you know, people, the folks who own Eco Lodge, and there's, you know, a young Liberian cat who is co-owner that Eco Lodge, you know, it's running that. So if we don't get all of these other things, you know, intact and in place, you know, and it's situated, you know, i.e. the airport and the electricity and all of that. You know, places like Eco Lodge, the Nimba, Nimba Eco Lodge and Reserve will have to heavily depend on the domestic tourists, because folks are not going to be coming from overseas to do that. And now they're adding a lot of amenities there. Now they have, you know, biking, and they did a, you know, bike trail. That's part of why I went there to check it out on my own, to just assess, you know, because I'm into biking and stuff. So I went to check it out and see how good the bike trails are that they have. And they, you know, they sort of have one that you leave from, you know, just the foothills of the Nimba Mound. And they have bikes there. I mean, I took my bike from here, but they have bikes there now that you can pick up and bike from there to the Guinean border. Okay, and then if you go in there, you get to the Eco Lodge. you pick up bikes there too. They have bikes there, and too that service is being provided by another Liberian entrepreneur who used to live in Rwanda, doing a lot of stuff in Rwanda. So she's offering that service there. So you have about 3 or 4. So there are a lot of businesses. So a lot of the local businesses, folks are there, setting up shop and all of that. So it's just huge potential. Just huge potential. I mean, I know that there are a lot of extreme mountain bikers who will go and try to bike up the Nimba Mound. It's not an easy experience, I can tell you that. But there's a market for that, right? Yeah. But we have to get all of these other things right to be able to attract that market.
Like I said, well, in the meantime, while we're talking about that, Trump just reciprocal tariffs on Liberia on his list, 10%. Trump just hit also 10% on Trump list. So I think guys, it'll just be aware.
What is he taxing from Liberia? I mean, I need to understand.
Rubber.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna put 10% on it. But look, guys, I'm sorry all the time because
But let me just mention this real quickly, Tomlin, if you don't mind. And what Russell is saying. Look, we price ourselves out of the tourism market, and that's the point I think he was making. But I think the ambassador missed it. For instance, the introducing the visa already is more expensive than
exactly.
You're in a region. You go to Lagos, you go to Accra, you get so much out of $100, but then you come to Monrovia, by the time you break 100, Liberia is very expensive. I don't know how much is in contact with the hotelier, like he's saying, the restaurant. Those are the little things he needs to first pay attention instead of flying all over the place. You got to make the place attractive. You got to want to make my children want to follow me when I'm coming to Africa because they should be able to enjoy Monrovia more than they enjoy Lagos or Accra. But right now, I can't say that. The place is expensive.
It is.
Then he's on the plane. He's going to put a club here, but he's on the plane, to say, what is he really doing on the plane with the photos? I really want to understand that.
Because the strategy and the focus is off, right? Instead of being on the plane, I think if I was him, I would attempt to try to make contact with some folks who have contacts with, for instance, the Jamaicans. Let's start having conversations surrounding what they've done, right? To get to where they are right now. In fact, if you can't get in contact with the Jamaicans, I will get in contact with the folks at Barbados. And by the way, Barbados have a lot of infrastructure challenges like Liberia. So the question is, how have they been able to still bring in close to $1 billion, a little more over $1 billion annually with all of these challenges, right? One of the issues in Liberia is security. You talk about the Nimba Mountain. I was just in South Africa, and when you go to Cape Town, right, to Kemps Bay, that the mountains in Kemps Bay reminds me of what the potential that the Nimba have. What they've done to be able to build tourist homes in those areas along those mountains, right? Build those roads. You got to be able to invest to get back, but you need people who understand how to
understand this.
You need a plan. You need a plan, Tomalin. You can't just be traveling and saying all of these things that he said. This is what baffles me. You need a plan. Right now, I saw something by the airport. They put a plank called a tourism disinformation for folks who've already come into the country for different purposes to get information on tourism. Tourists should not be coming into the country before they get information on tourism. The reason why they purchase ticket to get there is to come for the activities that already exist. How do they get information on these activities? If I'm coming on a business trip and I'm there for 2 days, my focus is not tourism. My focus is my business trip. People should be coming specifically for tourism purposes, Tomalin. So security. If I was advising that hotel, one of the mistakes that I thought they made was they have a price, for instance, $300. $300 is a mandatory price, which includes all of the different activities. But guess what? What if I don't want those activities? The operations when it comes to the hotel should be separate from the operation when it comes to all of what the activity. You talk about the box services. They should have the box services there separate operations for folks who might want to do the back services, right? So we're doing things Tomalin, not to international standard. We're doing things the Liberian way. And when we continue to do things the Liberian way, you cannot attract international tourists because they don't understand the operation.
Yeah.
This is why Ghana, the Ghanaians are succeeding. You know, they don't only have Uber there, they have boat there. It's not brain surgery.
Yeah.
So when we have this conversation around tourism, it's important that we bring people here for us to dialogue and have these serious conversations.
Fashion that we are all exhibiting for Liberia. So that's why, and I will say again, before I end, before we leave this show, look, if we all have seen what happened over the last 80, 20 years in Liberia. So honestly, if we are serious to like Robert, look, I would like to, when it comes to tourism, I like to listen to you. If I have my own way, I'll listen to you all day, all night talking about tourism because you guys have great ideas about it. We talk off the phone and you share some of your ideas and so forth. But honestly though, that's why it's important, because if we're serious, like I will tell you guys, if we don't have a transformative leader in Liberia, we'll be talking this all the time. That's why it's important. Come 20, you shouldn't wait for 2029, 2028. Let us start getting serious about who want to see lead our country. Look, I listened to the Senate hearing today on the Committee on Transport and Energy.
Yeah.
And I commend Senator DeLong. I like the way how he and Senator Yan, what did he? The guy, and also Snow. Look, if I were President Braga now, that management team at LAA and RIA, I would ask them to resign. Honestly, when you watch the hearing, it makes you afraid to even fly. You won't fly Liberia because the guys that they flying, the people ahead in our flying issue, they're not in Guians, they're not ready for the job. Because honestly, I could see them. They asking the man question. They put on LEC. They say the current went off. This one happening for 9 hours. Could not in darkness. Okay, and it's frightening. Now the issue about the bird. They say the bird caused some problem there. So why are you having garbages around the airport? Because the birds will come because you got garbage around the airport.
Yeah.
That's what and birds, make no mistake. I read Bugger Jaliba put. I know Robert going after him, but Robert, he made a good point, Robert, because birds have caused some damage to crash over the years. It's birds. So that bird issue, we can't blow with it. The question is, that's how you asked to the question. He asked, why? What is garbage doing around the airport? How can we? How do we mitigate to stop the garbage? The birds will not come in the area.
Yeah, but that whole garbage, Tomalin, it's a much bigger and systemic problem.
Imagine of the national president have not said nothing about it.
He won't say nothing. He's not a leader.
Right? He should have asked the residents of the people. The people that are at the airport, whenever by grace of God will survive it. Our travel survive.
So Tomalin and Robert, let me tell you something real quick. And I got video by it. I'm going to put it up. I didn't want to, and this is my second time doing that. Now, you know that this new multi-million-dollar eco lodge that was built in Grand Bassa County, where you can access it through Marshall, right? The people built, the owners built a dock. So when you drive there, you get there. I mean, like a welcoming, like a reception center with a dock there, right? So from it's less than like 0.25 miles or something like that, from you take the paved road in Marshall and go all the way until it ends, and then you take a right, the pavement ends, and there's a little, like 0.25 miles or something to get to this dock. So when there, all of these folks come in, nice place, there were some international tourists because there's some white folks there from Europe, and there's some other folks too, African Americans and stuff there. But that little stretch, the garbage all over the place, all over the place. So I went there, I said, come on, guys, seriously, man, what's up? It's like, so that whole garbage thing is a systemic issue. So as we're talking about tourism, just that little stretch, dude. I'm serious. The pointing stuff there, back of that. So I went to the guys and I talked to them. I said, man, you can just clean this place. I said, oh, we pay the city of Marshall, we're giving them all the money. But this is your place. So that garbage thing, that they will have garbage everywhere in the country, all the way to the airport and all of that. Like, seriously, man.
Yeah, but apart from that, Tomalin, here's my issue. My issue is with these guys, and Bwaka Jalaba is a smart brother, and I respect him a lot. But my issue is with this government is that these issues existed before they got there, because they criticize these issues, right? And so a responsible government, from my perspective, will say, you know what? Let's do some evaluations and find out what small steps we can take to kind of mitigate some of these issues. He talked about the trash, right? Granted, if the birds are actually sitting on those transformers because the trash is attracting them, this happened a few months ago. They did not give any reason or any explanation as to what was the cause of the airport going dark until recently, when the airport went dark, right? So if it's trash issue, why are the trash even around the airport? Because that's the port of entry to begin with. So if you are a responsible government, and you talk about all these experts opinions, folks, we're not paying people just because they're experts in just telling us what caused something to happen. We want them to put in place proactive measures to prevent them from happening. That's what experts do. And so I don't even believe this explanation. I think these guys, they don't want to take accountability, right? The president is not going to act. The president is not going to do anything. But I don't believe in this explanation that Burr is the reason why this is happening, because of trash. The trash should not be there to begin with. The trash should not be there to begin with. Simple, period.
Sorry, based on public demand, people are asking, we have a 9 o'clock late show tonight, please. So let me get up. Go get up. They said, Mr. Nangwe, the people say they want you to please be on our late night show if you have the time. The Senate Chairman Bester, you may want to be on that show.
Wait, Jerome had mentioned it to me. How you mean late tonight?
Yeah, it starts at 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
on the same link, or is there going to be a new link?
Other Robert talking, Russell talking, all the people then talking will be all on it. It will be all inside. So we hear them talking, and it will be, so. But again, so guys, let me try to go back. Look, I really want Robert and Russell. You guys were out there recently enjoying your life. I enjoy it to the fullest. I want you guys to really share with us, but I want you guys to take a time on this and then share with us Robert went to South Africa. I mean, that's a place that everybody want to go. I want to go to South Africa.
But that's Sylvester, you shouldn't throw body on the troll like that. I think our body left the set.
Thank you guys. So let me get so we get ready for that show.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
All right, guys.
All right. Okay.
Back at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.